Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. I'm Inquisitor Temperance Pryce, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is the second volume in a report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesys Adaptation of Warhammer 40k's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Ryan LaPlante and players Tom McGee as Interrogator Nero Abagnale, Laura Hamstra as Piper Fairley, Tyler Hewitt as Seth Corbyn, and Borovic as Sister Olianne Mina. With less than 12 hours before Gazzy Colon takes complete control, the band called upon their allies. Seth convinced Chastener Bokotan to provide 30 arbitrators, Piper confirmed that the Angel of Retribution would help when needed, and Nero received a truly splendid sword which he passed to Olianne to wield. Can the band convince Phyllisa Vance to raise her army and take out Gazzy before the entire system falls? Find out next, in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
Captured audio from a fleet-wide recording from Fabius Bile. We do not set fire so that we may rule the ashes, my brothers. No, we set it so that the old might give way before the new. Take comfort, my brothers. It is a battle we cannot lose, for we have already won. And most people in your circumstance would assume that Fabius Bile and the new men had already won. But you are the last remnants of the Inquisition within the Artis system, and you are on a desperate call to Phyllisa Vance, the surviving heir to the House Vance, who you know has hidden, murderous underground combat forces and does not get along fabulously with Gazzy Colon. The call is made over a vid screen, so you can see her when she picks up. She looks very much like Phyllis from The Office, let's not lie. But she is in a purple dress, very, very fitted lace. Her hair is up, swooping back, rock hard in almost like a beehive. But she is Phyllis, but murderous. The meanest, coldest Phyllis ever is. And she says, "So what you want?"
Greetings, Phyllisa Vance. My name is Seth Corbyn, and I represent the Inquisition here on this world.
Oh, yes, you're the ones who framed my son and then had him murdered out in public on the TV.
Your son was indeed framed, but not by us. We're starting with the lie already.
Who framed him?
Our investigation has led us to believe that House Colon orchestrated the downfall of your son.
True. Well, based on what's going on around here, that doesn't entirely surprise me on a scale of things. But why are you calling? Because I'd be as likely to fucking kill you as anyone else right now.
House Colon has double-crossed the Inquisition.
So I want to be clear, you're saying they did all the exploding, flaming bullshit?
Yes, that was all ordered by House Colon, yes, including the bombing of our base of operations here. Frankly, we're lucky to have gotten out alive.
All right, so what are you talking to me about?
I'm talking to you about taking back this world from a power-hungry heretic, employing the use of what we in the Inquisition are referring to as homo novus, a heretical type of new man.
All right, so you are saying that you would like to, you, the Inquisition, who found no threat, and then all got blowed up because you weren't paying attention, who couldn't even defend the hotel you were put in, are now hiding, and you would like all of my army to go fight a battle to the death?
I realize that's quite a large ask, and so
yeah, one could call it a big one.
Yes, Piper's just kind of giving a shrug and a nod in the background, like, yeah, sums it up.
So my question would be, what's your price?
Oh, I like you. It's going to be hard to kill you if I need to do it. Okay, let me think this through. I want the houses to remain dissolved, and I want to remain in full control of everything in this system, and I want a governorship, and I want the Rogue Trader license that used to belong to the Skull Shields, and I want their ship along with everything on it. And I want to be exempted from any crimes I may have committed in the past, and I would like to have that exemption moving forwards, and I don't want to pay taxes ever. Nor does my ass.
Just a moment, and I'd like to basically disable the camera on our Vox and mute us, I guess, as well, and just look over to Nero.
Hey, I mean, the way I see it, either way, we end up with someone seizing complete control of the system, no doubt charging the Lords of Terra more for all their prom. But in one case, it's Fabius Bile's new man who fucked us. And in the other case, it's this here nice lady who, is being pretty decent, I think, about the whole us killing her chances of being governor before. And assisting in the murder
our call was muted
of her son there. So yeah, I look, if the options are we're dead or we're not dead, I say we probably go with the we're less dead option would be my inclination.
Okay. Having heard that from Nero, Seth also looks to Mina and Piper, who have voiced varying degrees of dissent against Nero and his decision making, just to get a consensus. So he looks to you two as well.
My only thought is that I would hope we would be able to help Maximilian, as he has also helped us a great deal, if he could be cut into this deal. But otherwise, I agree. I'd rather the system be out of bad hands, even if it's not great hands.
Okay, I mean, like, really, we're just here to, like, flush out Homo Novus and, like, fuck the system. I don't care. And I don't think any of us should really care. Right?
Fair enough. And I'll flip everything back on and say, we accept your terms, although there are a few other individuals assisting us that we would like to have their safety guaranteed under your new rule.
Well, I mean, give me a list and I'll see who I like. If there's going to be a problem, I'll let you know. But what I would like is your terms sent to me in writing with a nice Inquisitor stamp right on it. Whoever's in charge, write that name out, send it over. That'd be great.
Yeah,
I'll hear that from you.
Hi, sorry to interrupt. That's me. Listen, or time's a little bit short here. I can like scroll it on something here. We actually don't have any way of getting it to you unless you want to send like a courier, one of your guys.
Send it over this line. Just give me a nice digital code.
All right. Hang on. And I'll just grab a napkin off the bar and be like, the Inquisition hereby. Hey, Miss Vance, you prefer Miss Vance?
Phyllisa is good. Phyllisa, we'll go with a full formal name.
There we go. To be the rightfully appointed governor of the RT system as declared by the Emperor's own will. Sincerely, Barth
House is dissolved. House is dissolved.
Hey,
trader stuff.
What? Yeah, that's up to the governor. Like we
fair.
I think, but that rogue trader piece, that's pretty good too. So I'll tell you what. P.S. Also give her the rogue trader license, and also please take care of our buddies Ignatius and Maximilian.
No taxes whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can write that down, but I mean, you're gonna have to talk to the big man about that. But I gotta tell you, if you control the system in the prom, I feel like you got some pretty good bargaining chips. But hang on, and I like open the napkin up, like, all right, look, I gotta tell you, I wasn't really thinking about writing this much, so it might get a little smeary, but I think you'll know what's going on. All right, so paying no taxes.
I've actually been writing it down because we can't physically send a napkin, so I've got it ready with the code for you. Says Invictus from the computer.
Inquisition thinks of everything, right? All right, so we got absolved of all crimes you've committed to this date, and I try and wink and then realize I don't have that eye anymore, and just kind of my shoulders slump a little bit, and I go back to writing. Like, all right, so no taxes, no crimes. You get the ship with all the shit on it. You were the governor, so you can kind of determine whatever you want about the stupid house thing. You got to leave room for our buddies Ignatius, Invictus, and our boy Maximilian. Now look, he's housebane, but I gotta tell you, he's a pretty good dude. So
don't worry. Once the asses have been, broken down, every ass is my ass.
Great,
So
no,
he's
that's
really
amazing.
just working for me already.
Just tell him to shave his stupid mustache, and then he's basically yours. All right. We also need Trenchant Cranium. Love that guy. And going to need you to, obviously as a good Imperial citizen. And again, I'll try and wink. Realize I can't just put a finger to the side of my nose, which I hate. It's not my preferred style of saying we're doing something sneaky in a rakish way. So I'm clearly like a little about it. But I said, you gotta the Adeptus Arbites. You gotta leave room for them, right? So, Chastener Bokotan, he's a good guy. We're gonna need you to guarantee that he can continue to operate here. Here's the good news, though. He just wants some law and order in this place, and he hates heretics. He's gonna help you burn out all these assholes, and then he'll just hang out and probably be your best friend. Does that sound all right to you?
Yeah, this is all fine to me. So I just got the message. Thank you to your disgusting friend. And
I'm still holding the napkin. Like, who sent it? How?
I've been writing it down.
Yeah, I know, but this is the official. Okay, I'll just fold it up.
No, I gave it your codes. Don't worry, it's binding legally.
Yeah, all right. So, well, that's good. You got a copy. I got the only copy, and I'll like glare at him with my one eye. And
so
listen,
just let me know where you need the soldiers, and I'll send them. The joy of this is I'm not going to the front, so I'm not going to argue with you about your plan. You take the bodies and win.
I think this might be the start of a beautiful friendship. Listen, my friend here, Seth Corbyn, he's going to let you know where to send the troops. Wait for a signal. I must say it's been an absolute pleasure doing business with you. Honestly, you should have been governor the whole time. This has been great.
It has been surprisingly good. I'm not going to say that I'll forgive you for killing my son, but I'll say I'm actively forgetting about it. And then she hangs up, and that's the end of the call. I mean, you gave her everything, so it's not like I'm going to make you fucking roll to negotiate.
See, that's the trick I found. The trick to good negotiation is you just give the other party everything they could possibly want. And then usually they'll acquiesce to your demands, as long as your demands are reasonable. Sometimes you got to bargain yourself down, Yeah.
So it appears that you have gained an army from House Vance. You also have your small proportion of arbitrators and whoever that Maximilian Phoenix Bane can pull together. The question now is, how do you plan to get to Griswold?
I'm sorry, I have to pause, because if you're just listening to the podcast, like, you have to go see Ryan's, like just what he looks like when he does the Invictus voice, because it's so fucking fun. It's making me laugh. It's just very, very funny. I'm so sorry.
In the grim darkness of the future, there are occasionally visual aids.
I'm gonna mute myself.
All right.
Well, he handed it back to you. I'm going to mute Invictus, and you guys can figure out your plan.
Do we have any sort of updated information, knowing about this army that was sort of built in the mines and tunnels under House Vance's purview? How extensive are those tunnels? Like, can we do some real kind of tricky shit and have an army kind of pop up out of the ground somewhere?
Unfortunately, you would not be able to bring an army up out of tunnels. The majority of the tunneling worlds are in the other areas that are more explored than this. However, you could absolutely do a surprise attack from the information that you had from House Colon, and they didn't have everything. You'd know that they would be secreted throughout the population of House Vance's area, and there may even be agents in the other houses. So if she's sending out a message, it'll be very easy to get a large number of people together that no one will know were agents, who can all move in. And they all have specialty coil guns, which are silent and very nasty. So you're looking at rough and tumble kind of stealth troops. There are a significant number here, probably not enough to overthrow the Citadel, but enough that they could wage a very serious assault against it.
Then that is what we need. We need an assault on the Citadel, but we still need to find a way in, preferably undetected, while the Citadel is being defended from the outside, drawing out security forces and things like that, giving us a clearer, more direct path to our target.
Yeah, Seth, I got a thought for you on that one. Well, two thoughts, actually. Now, I recall you mentioning and I saw a little bit of it when we were brought up there ourselves, but I understand the way up to the Cologne residences, it's a whole hall of mirrors and guns situation, right?
Yes.
So let's not that. If we can avoid it, right?
If we can avoid it, yes, that would be ideal. I don't know that we can avoid it at all.
Right, but I mean, it would seem to me that the Arbites probably have a pretty good sense of that space. They've been up and down there a bunch. I'm thinking if we've got this army to swarm the Citadel, either we can try and use the Adeptus Arbites guys to like lead us through, kind of act as a living, angry, smelly map of some sort, or if we can send them at the Senate, seize control of that, then we might be able to get to Gazzy and Rance without anyone looking for us, Make the Senate action look like the big thing that's going on. Make it seem like the Vance troops are making their move. Send the Arbites after the Senate, so it seems like they're trying to seize control of the situation. Maybe that buys us a smokescreen. But look, this is more your realm than mine, so I'll turn it back over to you. But those are just the thoughts that were kicking around. What's left of my head?
I will also say, Seth, you would remember this because you guys have been up to the Citadel a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
There are two ways that you have seen to get up to the governor's quarters. There is the rear entrance, which is the governor's direct elevator. However, it has only ever been triggered by using Gazzy's genetics to be able to go up or down. And you do not know if that would have been altered theoretically. I think you're all smart enough to be savvy of maybe you could do that, maybe you couldn't. Not entirely sure. The other one that you have seen is from the interior of the building, but it required 2 keys from 2 different guards to be able to activate it to take you up. You would need to probably circumvent one of those 2 systems if you were going to use an elevator outside of its normal use. There's 1,000 ways you could try to do this. I just wanted to flag that those are the 2 big things. The elevator from the governor's elevator from the rear does not require you to go through the maze to get to the sitting area that you have been in. The other elevator does. The interior elevator goes straight up, but then it's the maze to the quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How much firepower is on the Angel of Retribution, Ryan?
The Angel of Retribution is reasonably packing. The Citadel is fortified and armored, but you would have to assume that there is a landing pad for the classic, oh shit, I'm the governor, the world is being overthrown takeoff plane. You could possibly shoot your way through or get your way up there. You just don't know if the Angel of Retribution would be able to hold up long enough to get you back out. It might be a drop off, dust off, but that is definitely something you could consider as well.
Yeah, I was thinking if we had to like Neo our way into the building from the end of the Matrix where we just shoot out the wall. But
I was contemplating that as well with our own vehicle, our own pilot.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's what I was thinking of as well. Is the Angel of Retribution
that is the name of your shuttle with that Sarah Pinchot is
right.
flying the Angel of Retribution.
Great.
Okay. I keep thinking it was the midwife.
Yeah. Also not opposed to the drop and go. I mean, honestly, if we if we can't get this done, this is a one-way trip anyway, right? So I don't really see much need for an escape plan because if we can't kill them, then like Fabius Bile owns a system and that's probably going to be pretty bad for all of us. I don't think any of us are nimble enough to escape. I'm looking specifically at Piper, who I know is going to be thinking about how she can survive this. And I'm like, I don't think we're making a run for it,
Why are you looking at me?
Because I know you really don't want to die.
I mean, I don't want to die needlessly.
Oh, all right. Never mind. So she's good. Then I look at Seth. I'm like, you definitely don't want to die.
I'd like to die in service to the Emperor, if possible.
I see that. I can guarantee
Jesus.
on this particular case.
I don't believe in one-way trips.
Great. So you're in agreement then. We're going to go in and, do the God Emperor's work for him and all of his favorite son.
Yes, Seth says.
Yeah. All right. Great. So we're in an accord. And besides, how can we lose? We got Count Kornos and Isabella and the Vorpal sword and whatever the fuck you're supposed to be in this nursery rhyme of horrors. So, it's been foretold and such.
By Eldari.
I've heard worse. Seen worse.
Truth be told, I was thinking of more of a uncharacteristically direct approach, sort of a unit within a larger force. The Baites men within the Vance force breaking free and pushing further into the Citadel. And from within that force, Maximilian and his chosen few plus us, getting us even closer.
Oh,
However,
so Acadian
it's
horse.
High risk.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is high risk, but not bad.
It's something we could do under our current time constraints. However, I'm open to more subtle ideas as long as we can do them within, like, looks at his watch, like 10 hours.
Mina holds up. She has one sword in each hand. She's got a chain sword. She's got the Vorpal blade power sword, and she's like, "I would not be adverse to the direct path, Seth."
No, I don't imagine you would be. How about you, Piper?
Look,
You've
whatever gets us in, like
whatever gets us in, truly. You've been somewhat hesitant to leverage your full psychic potential up to this point. Are you really ready to give it your all?
oh sure. Look,
Well,
I was like
that
super
does
scared at
change
first,
things.
and then like let's be honest, like I kind of eased into it, but I've been using my like psyker powers like a lot, and like nothing bad has happened, right? It's fine.
I mean, Seth
Point at my face.
News to us.
like looks around this pub.
I mean, nothing bad has happened to me, or as a direct result of me. Like I've only helped.
We should have left her in the suit.
I can sit this one out if you like. Honestly, if you want me to, Nero.
Now, Piper, we want your glorious purpose to be fulfilled, you know? And honestly, we're going to need your psyker powers. We're going to need all those mind tricks you used to get all those pirates to kill each other, all that shit, all the good stuff, you know, like the proper stuff. And you know what? You're right. I know you've been worried about cults, and you know what? We're going to go kill them. So we don't need to worry about them if Sister Mina mops up the mess, right?
Sure.
Great.
Ignatius.
Yes?
How do you think you would fare against the Citadel's security protocols and bypassing them?
Well, generally, I could do quite well. They're not actually that complicated, and if you have the Arbites, they have override codes that would work on the majority of doors. The only question would be getting to the governor himself. That could be more complicated. However, if I have enough time, I can make anything work. If you could just let me into one of those elevators and give me some time to breathe, ha-ha! Open it up.
There is a private lift straight up to the governor's quarters, unlocked by Gazzy's genetics alone. Now, we did collect some of his DNA, did we not?
We did. Yeah. I got it right here, and I point at my infinity gauntlet.
Ignatius, could you use the existing DNA sample we have to expedite the process of capturing and controlling that lift?
Well, logically, if it's a randomized system, but it's built off of an existing genotype, then I could build forwards. It would allow me to skip a certain amount of the overall hacking and just try to predict where it went from. Especially if they'd only made changes in the last 24 hours. Then it would be a limited number. You actually start to see all of his lights blinking, and his brain jars are just lighting up differently as you realize he's running just a tremendous amount of numbers. A big fan kicks on, just old school PS2 style. The room's a little warmer.
It's cool and start circulating through some tubes, yeah?
No, I think I could do it. I don't know exactly how fast, but you know, a parsec's a parsec. Ha 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 ha.
I love you, man. I don't know what parsec is, but
Right.
I appreciate the mirth. You know,
It's
I
a
think
unit of distance.
we all needed
anyways.
that. Hey, there we
And-
go. All right.
My standing plan then is we arrive as a large force. The larger and larger forces stay behind to create distractions and diversions while the force moving forward becomes less and less detectable as we get smaller and smaller, slipping through security, getting to the governor's private lift, at which point we will need to defend that position while Ignatius hacks in. Thoughts? Questions?
Mina's gonna look at Invictus and say, Invictus, did your nice friend Heinrich Fink make it out alive? He was a very good driver.
Oh, well, I haven't seen him. He was taking a nap when we were inside the hotel. The stormtroopers came out, but I don't think Heinrich made it. Look on the bright side, I think he has achieved his dream of dying for the Emperor.
That is true. It was only a thought. All right. Scratch that one off the list.
I really should have woken him up. But he thought
Honestly,
there was a fight to come.
If he can sleep through a fire alarm, that's kind of on him. But you did your best, bud. You did your best.
Yes.
Here's a not great thought, but I'm kind of prone to those these days. The Gnome clan has done a lot for us, including this fine establishment. But I gotta say, I was a little nervous about the cousins at first. They seem pretty cagey, but honestly, they've been pretty solid on the driving front since we've been here. So, maybe one of them wants to die for the Emperor, and then I'll look pointedly at Piper and be like, or could want to die for the Emperor. But as driving goes, they kind of seem to be the best. I mean, aside from you, obviously, Warden, but I feel like you're going to want to be doing other things.
Yeah, he taps his arm and just says, I will kill Piper if she breaks.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah. So that's good. Let's keep you on that. That's an important one that I don't think the Nulns would be up for. But what do we think? Should we try and rope them into our merry band of myth and legend?
Driving us from one event to another is one thing. Driving through what will be an active combat zone where we are a very large target is entirely different.
All right, cool. Well, let's go to your driver then, Seth. Who we got?
I would have chosen Warden.
Okay. You good to shoot Piper in the head if Warden tells you to?
Oh, most definitely.
All right.
Piper
Warden.
can be in the passenger seat.
I just want to be clear. If I start getting ripped apart by the forces of the warp, or tentacles or horns start spreading from me, anyone is allowed to shoot me.
Yeah,
We
no, to
all
be
know
clear.
that.
Yeah, everyone is allowed to shoot you
okay
anyway.
with it. To be
Okay, well,
clear.
that's nice. That's a nice bonus, I
But
guess.
not before then, please. That's
Yeah, but you see, that's the part though, right? Because we don't necessarily know, and it's going to be busy. But no, you're right, Piper. Look, we get it. We're not going to shoot you for no reason. If we were going to, I would have.
Would
Trust
it
me.
make everyone more comfortable if, I can't believe I'm going to say this, if Invictus rode with us, nullifying Piper's abilities while Warden is driving? There's
Warden
a cost
says
benefit of we would get there without Piper going off like some kind of psychobomb, but at the cost of sitting in a car with Invictus.
All right, let's all roll.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a roll. This is a roll.
Oh my god.
This is going to be a willpower. A willpower and discipline check against
Amazing.
difficulty 3
Oh, amazing. Okay.
For everybody?
for everybody.
I would like to petition to not roll because I have actually befriended this monster.
You've made friends with him, so you're good. Everybody else, you also have to add 2 difficulty because he's an untouchable who's innately
Difficulty
dislikable.
5? Holy
Difficulty
shit.
5?
No. Oh, sorry. No. I meant setback dice. Sorry, 2
Oh,
setback
okay.
dice.
Setbacks.
I will say, Seth, you don't have to add the setback dice because
Okay.
you are used to repellent people from all of your undercover missions. If you can hang out inside a cannibalistic cult and get away with it, you can handle sitting in a room with an untouchable.
Yeah.
I would
not
argue
Invictus.
I would argue for the removal of one of Piper's setbacks only because she did have to spend all that time with Invictus getting the shield done, and she got through that okay. She
I
had to
appreciate-
have his musk around her neck for hours.
But his musk is one thing. You are the psycher of the party. Do you know what?
All
I
right.
would argue you can have a boost if you know that this is necessary, but I won't let you take away the setback.
Okay. Yeah.
To add a boost, because I think the experience will be there, but for you, it's such a core dislike because
That's
you
fair.
actually become blind while he is around.
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
He sucks for you.
Yeah.
And I also feel like for the rest of us, we would just assume you're being particularly anal about it, not understanding how overwhelming and
Yeah.
awful the sensation of him removing your abilities is. We'd all just be like, whatever,
Yeah,
just get over it.
Yeah, because I literally I see with my mind. And he can block that.
He's like a stinky, radiant black spot that makes it harder to see everything else for her.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the rolls. Let's see what happens.
I'm looking forward to rolling this and having Seth like change his mind. Be like, you know what? I don't like this idea anymore. There we go.
Here we go.
It's not bad for Piper. 2 threats.
One advantage, 1 failure for Seth.
I somehow got 1 success, 1 threat. This insane roll.
Okay.
Nobody's happy about it.
I was going to say, Seth, you don't think this is a good idea anymore. Now that you've said it aloud, I think you wish you haven't. Piper, the threat is the fact that during this assault, you will not be able to use any of your powers without great disadvantage. How it works is he will be adding 2... no, actually, if he's sitting with you, and he would be sitting with you, he will add 4 difficulty to any psyker checks if he is within engagement range. Mina, you realize it will take Piper out of the game, but it also negates psychic power, so you're kind of okay with it, but he's gross.
Yeah, that's fine.
So now everyone likes this idea except Seth.
Yeah. I think that is also an indicator of why it's a bad idea, is these people that he doesn't generally like think it's a good idea. It's like, hang on.
Yes, I will sit with her, so we can summon up a vehicle. We have the Vance troops assaulting, and then we're going in with the Arbites and Bane stormtroopers.
Yes.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yes. And he goes off to just like be excited in a corner while you can send your messages. So in terms of this assault, because you will need some planning before you can send this out. So I just want to make sure that you guys are picturing exactly what you mean. And I am picturing exactly what you mean. Your troops will have access to the internal circle. If you remember the Dominion Omnium Dominion Omnium Proto Hive. There we go. Jesus Christ. It is a giant circle with internal rings. They're the large outer rings, which is the general city. There's the spire, as they call it, which is intended to be the core center rings. And then at the very center is the Governor's Citadel. You will be able to get your forces into the spire, or at least have a force start off in the spire, simply because a lot of people have access to the spire and still do. There's Vance troops. A lot of the house troops are still around. They all have a presence and are protecting their assets within that core ring. And then you are making a move on the Citadel, which is walled off 360 degrees around, though it has entrances. It is a fortress designed specifically to be able to prevent people from overthrowing the governor. You do have the Arbites, who you've been told by Ignatius have codes that will allow you to open gates and do other things. The question is, how do you want to do this? In what order do you want these things to happen? You have the Vance army. You have a significant number of Bane stormtroopers. They are fucking mad about Lucia, and Maximilian is popular and high-ranking enough that he can move them out. So in terms of broad, large military forces, think of it as your general army are Vance coil troopers. Then your special forces are the stormtroopers from House Bane. And you have a small group of Suicide Kings that you can use for your own direct immediate purposes, and the Arbites. You have 30 Arbites and Bokotan who will join you, and they can bring their own kind of personnel carriers and that kind of thing. So they can get themselves to and fro.
Okay.
You also have the Angel of Retribution, which you could bring in or not. Entirely up to you. How do you want to kind of stage this assault in terms of things? We will say that if you're looking at the exterior governor's elevator, we'll just say that's north. Just so it's right at, that's on the north side of the tower, just for us to be able to picture where everything else is.
My thinking in sort of coming up with this plan so far was that, you know, you talked about these Vance troops kind of hiding in plain sight. I was thinking that they, through stealth and kind of deception, seize basically like a Cologne checkpoint or something like that. Something that they, like with the element of surprise, they should be able to take over relatively quickly and then arm themselves more seriously and then defend from a threat that they know is coming. I would basically say we know that Vance forces go as deep as the Spire, but not the Citadel. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So then I would say the Citadel the spire should be that staging point, basically as deep as they can go, and hold a strong point there, drawing enemy forces to them.
To look at my map of the city, because sometimes these things matter. House Vance's portion of the city leads into the Spire Guard headquarters, which is the headquarters of the Cologne troops. So if you were looking for the easiest thing for them to make a direct move on, they could essentially take the Cologne military barracks, or at least make an assault on it, which is directly next to the Citadel.
That sounds like a really good start to me. And with that sort of... It would be like a key position to have, but it's also a distraction for our smaller group of Adeptus Arbites and Bane Stormtroopers and us to make a move for the Citadel through like gaps in their defenses now as they're being focused on this one point. The Arbites get us through gates and doors and things like that. And can be deployed to cover us as we move deeper and deeper. And the shock troopers can help us hold or assault the elevator, is basically my whole idea on this. Is basically we shed more and more fighters as we get further and further in, with just the key performers left for that one crucial point. And we'd have to be a small group to get up in that elevator anyway. That's my idea. Anyone who has like any other ideas or wants to jump in or anything, that's totally cool.
Seems like general group nodding is going on. So to make sure I'm painting this picture correctly, you have all of the Vance troopers making an assault on the Spire Guard headquarters, either to take it, hold it, or take it, roll forwards, but just the biggest distraction they can be. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're entering the Citadel, using the Arbites to open doors and then just spread out and cause chaos, along with the vast majority of the Stormtroopers, while you, and probably, if we want to say, the Suicide Kings, that like core 10 or 20 troopers, are making a move on the elevator with Ignatius to go upstairs while the rest of the world is in chaos.
Yeah.
The Angel of Retribution is vox away should it so be needed.
Seth, again, doesn't believe in one-way trips, so Seth would basically be thinking that's our escape. That is, that ship fucking pulls up, we pile in, and we take off. And that's kind of the gamble there, is whether or not we make it. But we're not going back down the way we came up kind of situation. So, yeah.
All righty. The only person you have not contacted at this point, but it came up earlier, is Truncheon Cranius. Do you want to message him, or do you not?
I think if anyone messages him, it should be Mina, right? That's the person that has the best, strongest bond with him.
Yes, but also Mina is terrible at the phone, and tipping him off would not be a great thing. So might be something to cut our losses on.
What's the concern that, like, regarding tipping him off?
He is a dumb instrument.
Let's just shift these into character voices and get this discussion going.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
I think that perhaps he might be useful to contact while amidst the chaos or while things are going on. He's not a very intelligent man, and I have had to keep him back from tipping off people and our plans in the past, and if he happens to still be loyal, he may sound the alarm before any of this gets started.
Yes, that sounds like perhaps too risky an individual to contact at this point.
Hey, Mina, when his guys were getting me set up with the power armor that was definitely intended for you, but that I wore that one time, I don't really know how to put this in a politic manner, but I think he might be a little bit sweet on you. You know, I think he seems to really appreciate your combat acumen, your unbridled rage, and your ability to slaughter and murder. What if you put in a distress call as we were assaulting the tower? Now, look, obviously you're not gonna need his help. But if he thinks you're in trouble, I bet he comes down here with a bunch of those big guns, just in case, you know? And this way, word doesn't get out. You said it yourself, you're terrible on the phone. So all you need to do is just ring him up as we go, yell, I need your help. help me, Truncheon Cranium. You're my only hope. Hopefully he shows up with the las cannons. And, we got a buddy for the rest of the day. And then afterwards, you tell him that you like him as a friend, and you let him down easy. I'll buy him a drink.
I suppose I can't argue with any of that. My only concern, I suppose, thinking of things from my own perspective, I couldn't imagine going against my own team for some sort of sweet emotion, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why you'd think that, but this guy has repeatedly almost screwed us over by just acting on whatever gut instinct he has, right?
Yes, I also wonder if he might turn purely based on the fact that he was so looking forward to there being a guild war, and now it's just a guild slaughter.
There you go. Look, you've got everything a growing truncheon could possibly desire. You've got guild fight, you've got mass warfare. He's got all those toys he wants to try out. You're giving him an excuse. You're just giving him a chance to really live his life to the fullest, which is good because realistically, we're probably all going to die. I mean, of course, we'll escape off the rooftop, Seth, but realistically, why not let him live out his dream for a single day, Just tell him he can unleash all of his arsenal on a bunch of jerks.
And you wish for him to fight all of Vance's troops that are incoming? Or what else should I tell him?
Oh, no. I think you should tell him that Vance and that once we're there, again, once we're engaged, be like, oh, no, our friends were trying to get us out of the Citadel problem because all the bad stuff's going on, and now we're under attack. And our friends, the Banes and the Vances, are trying to save us, but there's all these guild assholes inside who are going to kill us. So if you want a guild war, it's happening. Come join. Now he's going to be, he's going to have to struggle real hard. He's going to have to think through what he believes in. But as someone who has been wrestling with the idea of what to believe fully, let alone what to believe in, I got to tell you, if a pathway opens up, if the Emperor opens up a path for you, you walk that path. Am I right, Sister Mina?
You are most definitely right, Nero Abagnale.
There we go. So let's just open the path for him and let him walk it as he so chooses.
All right. I will keep his number on hand, and may the Emperor bless us and show us the path.
Yeah, as Seth explains it, the path is the front door, so let's go walk it.
And with the final plans made and the messages being sent out, you are all smuggled across town by one of the Nulns in very short order to be dropped off somewhere else, and then receive a Taurox that is brought towards the Citadel, so you'll be ready for an assault alongside the Allied forces, which spend the next 10 hours infiltrating through the city, escaping the curfew, remaining invisible, and placing themselves for an assault against the Spireguard headquarters, the Governor's Citadel, and theoretically Fabius Bile and the New Men. Millions are dead, billions of lives hang in the balance, and it will all come down to the 4 of you. Let the galaxy burn. I will survive. My work will survive. Humanity will survive through my art, but you, I fear, shall not. An audio recording of Fabius Bile facing off against a Xenopsyker on the craft world Luganeth. You have all repositioned yourselves, and in the final hour before midnight, the assault on the Citadel, the assault on the Spire, the assault on Fabius Bile's Homo Novus, and the Confederacy, which is being battled by your Inquisitor, begins. House Vance Coil troopers strike out of nowhere. They had positioned themselves as various checkpoint guards. They'd use their positions within the Imperial Guard and other areas to insert themselves into the Spire. And in the first wave of their assault, now we go to a die roll. I feel like of all of you, these are elite troops. These are stealth troops, and they're striking with advantage. So we will use Mina's combat stats. So Mina, can you roll me? This would be pretty up close and ugly fighting. So let's do a melee light roll.
Okay.
against difficulty 2.
Mm-hmm.
It will have 2 setback because they are attacking defenses.
Yes.
It will also have a boost because this was a surprise assault.
Okay. What's our story point situation?
You guys have 3 and I have 2.
I think that at least our first wave, we should give them
Start
a little
strong.
boost. Start out strong.
Alrighty.
Give them some
Element
place
of
to
surprise.
hold.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So the roll will be 1 green, 4 yellow, versus 2 difficulty, 1 boost, and 2 setback.
Yep, let's see what happens.
See how they do. 3 successes, 1 triumph. Go team!
That's
It
what we like to
is-
hear.
A resounding stealth assault. Not only do they burst through the defenses of the Spire Guard headquarters, they've gained such momentum that they actually claim the 2nd and 3rd floors and begin to work their way upwards where the defenses are not ready and where they have already moved past the armory which has been claimed. You would expect it to give them 15 minutes to begin making noise within the Spire and looking for the response. However, within those 15 minutes, they own the building, they've cracked the armory, and are already sending shock troops against the walls of the governor's citadel, which is to the northeast, meaning it is not a direct line to where you are. It is drawing troops past where you will be entering and away. Sirens are blaring, chaos is at hand, and because of the triumph, not only are they assaulting the citadel, they've begun to take the walls. So there is already fighting inside the governor's compound as you begin to roll towards it. You 4 are inside a chimera. It is in Vance livery. This is part of an armored convoy. It's an upgrade from a Taurox. You're looking at a tank that usually holds between 12 to 14 people in the rear of it. The people who are inside this vehicle right now are the 4 of you, Maximilian Bane, Invictus, I guess he is a part of this, and the rest are stormtroopers made up of the Suicide Kings. Invictus sent his 2 inquisitorial stormtroopers to go assist the Vance assault, knowing that with their advanced leadership skills and ability with guerrilla training and other things that are involved with the Inquisition, they're better used there kind of as lieutenants of what is otherwise an underground strike force. You are rolling towards the gates as the other assault and becomes over the walls. You have the convoy of the rest of the stormtroopers around you. They are also in Tauroxes with Vance colors. However, you are being led by a chimera. No, it would actually be a rhino, come to think of it. You are being led by a rhino filled with Arbites troopers with Chastener Bokotan within it. Clear Arbites markings, and he radioed ahead to clear this convoy as being additional protection for the Arbites moving through the district. He is moving up to the gate, which means we are now shifting over to somebody else's skills to do the roll to see how this first entrance into the Citadel goes. Seth, I think you are our best liar of anyone in terms of
I think
mechanics.
so. Yeah, I think so.
Let's go with deception and cunning.
Okay.
This will count as lowborn just to represent that you do have legitimate imperial code, so you would have an advantage. But like this is really you're rolling using this stat, but we're representing Bo-Katan's ability to get through, Invictus, and Ignatius's ability to assist technically. Also, Ignatius is with you, just to make sure that that's clear that he's inside your fucking chimera.
I figured, yeah.
You will be up against difficulty 4, which is solely because your other assault went so well that it now seems weird that the Arbites would be driving past the battle to deliver a report instead of diverting to try to stop this overall assault. You've already got the boosts for your own abilities. Throw another boost in there for the fact that your codes are legit. Okay. You actually have an Arbites physically present. Bo-Katan isn't just sending his code while being like, let the tanks in. Bo-Katan is in the cupola of the front tank, waving and making it very clear that he's the one who's here. His Cybermassive is standing on top of the Rhino next to the cupola, just sitting. It's mag clamped itself, so it's not going anywhere, but it's with him for this.
That's cool. I don't think I'm going to use a story point, famous last words, but I'm ready to roll.
Great, let's go for it.
1 success, 2 advantages.
Hey.
1 success, 2 advantages. The gate opens and the entire convoy is allowed inside. You think this may be because of the general distraction of what's going on, but when you look up at the walls, you can see that security forces are already being pulled away from this area to move towards the combat in the northeast. If you had to guess, and from what you may be able to pick up from the various Vox chatter that Ignatius can keep a bead on, even though it's encoded, it seems like because your convoy has arrived, they've actually reorganized the defenses, knowing that you can hold this gate, so they can take these troopers and send them over to the other area. So you are facing even lighter opposition than you otherwise would have moving in.
Excellent.
There are a series of gates that continue forwards. We'll just let this roll count because this is all high stakes things as we're moving forwards. You begin to pass through, and then you start shedding troops. You just start leaving tanks. You leave a large number at the wall. You leave a smaller number at the next gate. You leave a smaller number at the next one. And then with a signal, it's unleashing the hounds of hell. You just start to hear explosions going off. Vance troops combined with Arbites are some of the most heavily armed shock troops you could ever have, because it's a suicide strike from two people who have full armory access, both in the case of, oh, there's a nuclear winter, get out the portable nuclear winter. So explosions begin rocking the facility, and your tanks begin having to open fire to force your way through a final gate.
Okay.
Piper. Normally, I would ask you to do something here, but you're sitting next to Invictus. Nero. Piper had the ability to get you through this gate real easy, but this one is going to be a bit of an uglier fight. So, Nero, I want to ask you, we can use 2 of your skills, and I will leave it up to you which way you want to go trying to get through this gate. You can either use a ranged melee attack, ranged light attack, or a melee light attack. Melee light is speed the tanks up, try to ram through the gate. The other one is trying to shoot the gate down with combinations of your multi-laser, the Rhino, because Bokotan is still with you to the end, a large number of mass reactive shells, and dealing with the defenders. You have better odds in terms of difficulty of ramming through the gate than you do of shooting it, but this isn't perfect, which is why it's not necessarily your strongest skill for the ramming.
I think I would still go with shooting, only because given that Nero is very effective at shooting and not effective in close combat, his brain would just, like, looking out, I imagine it would just be full on, like, shoot, like, open a gate, Emperor's path, make the path. But there's no way he would have the patience to wait for the vehicle to hit. He'd be like, open fire, with the assumption that even if we weaken it, then if we ram into it, maybe it breaks, as opposed to just like, we'll just hang tight and hope.
Would you take the storm bolter that is available through the passenger cupola, where you could climb up to the roof to fire the storm bolter, or would you have one of the stormtroopers do it?
I mean, I'd like the stormtrooper to do it so I can lean out the window with my fucking bolter. It's no storm bolter, but can't hurt.
Nice. All right.
So just Ace Venturaing out the window. But yeah, as soon as I see it, it's like, you know, he's not a battlefield commander. He's a guy who gets shit done. So let's get that shit done.
Great. Let's roll then.
Great.
The difficulty on this will be 3, because it is a challenging spot that you are in. There will also be 2 setback dice, because this is a fortified position that you are shooting at. It is specifically designed to not be shot at. However, your targeter or any other abilities that you do have will apply here. We're just expanding them to the whole force.
Yeah, totally. All right, so I'm a crack shot, so that drops 1 of our difficulty, and then I believe, yes, with the targeter, yeah, so that'll get rid of the rest of it. I will literally, I think,
I am going to use a story point against you, so it will be one
that
red.
Makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, I'll be probably yelling like, on me, and then just wherever I'm shooting, like just using the targeter to like using my like fucking Predator vision or Terminator vision. I've got all my like bad data coming through because it's 40K and technology's trash, but it looks 80s as hell, which, you know, I appreciate on a deep level. Great. Okay, so we got all of that. Given that I can't maneuver because I'm in a fucking car, I'm definitely going to use the aim, if I may.
Yep.
To add that one sweet boost.
It's a gate. I believe you could aim at it.
Yeah. It's not like I'm hitting, like, you know, blowing the fucking hinges off it. I'm just trying to hit a side of a barn with a shotgun. Cool. I will, however, I know we'd said we'd counteract the lost eye. I feel like I would actually legitimately be at a disadvantage with this.
I feel like you would be individually, but this is representing all
it's a
of
hail
the
of fire. Yeah,
this
perfect.
is
Never
this
mind.
is the tanks firing.
Yeah,
so
they're all good. They're all good at that shit. Cool. All right. So I think that's it. I'm not going to spend story on this. I don't think Nero has that much
oomph in this regard. Yeah.
Well, he does, but he's not thinking tactically. He's literally like, get that thing out of the way. And then again, in his head, I think it's like pew, pew, pew. And then we ram through it dramatically. I don't think there's a version in his head where that doesn't happen. So he's just kind of like, well, we're going to shoot it as much as we can before we hit it. But when we hit it, it'll go down. So like, fuck it. Not like we got this, but kind of like, there's nothing we could do. Shoot.
All right, so 3 chimeras and a rhino are screaming towards this gate while opening fire, with the Arbites rhino in the lead because it is the sturdiest vehicle if it was going to hit something. So let's see what happens.
Well, we're unleashing a hail of fire upon the gates, and for a second, I see them just go up in flame and blood. And it's kind of odd, I don't remember the Citadel having as many tentacles, but it seems to, because baby, I got 2 advantage, 1 to spare. So wubba lubba dub dub. Goodbye, Rhino.
1 to spare. What hits you as you're flying forwards towards this fortified gate, Nero? The world around you shifts. At the same time as your perception. You are firing at the walls. They are covered in eagles. You are storming towards an Imperial barricade, and just a sense of horror pours through your body as you flash back to the assault that led to your mind template being put in place. A failed assault against an Imperial bastion where at the end you are strapped screaming to a table while psychers rip out your mind. And you jump on the Vox and yell abort just before the hit on the gate, which means the Rhino storms forward, cranks sideways, smashes into it anyways, opening the gate, but it throws a track. It cannot move. You will have to get out of your tanks, move past the Rhino, and get to the gate outside of cover. The tanks are firing, 3 chimeras remain, and the Rhino is there. Troops are escaping from it. However, you're watching the Arbites be cut down as they flee out of the rear. Bokotan is still holding inside it. He's ducked down out of his cupola, and his Cybermastiff followed him into the Rhino. If you were seeing an Arbites hide, you know shit is really, really bad. The Rhino is jammed in place. You have your chimeras. What are the orders you give? Nero, you're the only one near the Vox, but I think at this point, anyone else could take it if they want to, if you think you're completely thrown.
I guess
the vision would snap back. You're not just stuck in, oh God, we're all doomed land.
No, I understand that, but I mean, like, yeah, he kind of is though. Like, even if that's gone, just like having led one of these before and having had it gone to shit.
Nero has dropped the radio. Then, if you were thinking of the handheld Imperial Guard version,
yeah,
or did you want to throw something?
I think I was gonna throw because I think he's panicked and it's just like he feels like it's going to hell, and so I think he'll just like watch as everyone's getting cut down. He remembers Ultramarines in a similar position once, often at the end of his guns. He knows how this goes. I think I'll just start screaming into the Vox, like, open the path, all costs in the name of the Inquisition. Then I'll just kind of mutter like, sorry, Bo-Katan, we gotta go. Then I'll like turn and just starting to all of them, like be like, we gotta go right now, we gotta go. They're getting cut down. The Marines are coming. We're gonna die. We gotta go. Throw! And then I'll just like throw the mic down and grab my gun and just lean out and start shooting at literally anything I see.
Great, Piper. Can you roll me? What is your keeping control reaction? There might be discipline. It might be resilience. I don't know what would be. It might be survival. I would accept any of those 3.
I would say in this instance it would be discipline because I'm already exercising that just being around Invictus.
Yep.
So I think
let's go with that then.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll be difficulty 3. What you are representing is this convoy's ability to keep its own shit together when Nero falls apart while in charge. I think you are a pretty good representative of people who have dealt with not necessarily great commands. These are House Stormtroopers who followed Lucia Bane around. As you all know, she's prone to emotional outbursts and not necessarily keeping herself in a safe space at all times.
Right.
So this is a question of can they keep it together to take over the situation?
Okay. Roll. That's it. I'm not adding anything.
Difficulty 3.
What's our story points situation?
Story points. You have 3. I have 2.
I think this is a pretty fucking critical moment, so I'm going to use one.
Yeah, this feels like a good time to do that.
All right,
I'm not
rolling.
going to use one against you, not because this isn't dangerous, but just because there is no enemy commander directly overseeing this, and I feel like I need some sort of evil antagonist to justify that.
Fair. All right, rolling. 2 successes, 1 triumph.
2 successes, 1 triumph. Maximilian rips off his helmet and grabs the radio control and yells, "Suicide Squad Beta, charge." And one of the chimeras just cranks its fucking engine beside you and sprints forward. And then he yells to the other, "Open fire." And both chimeras, multi-lasers and stormbolters, start hammering into the rear of the chimera that is sprinting forwards. It rams into the rhino. You see Bokotan jump out just before it happens. But with the multi-laser hits, the lasgun hits, the stormbolter hits, and everything, the chimera explodes. It takes the rhino with it in a massive explosion that takes down the walls and the gate, clearing massive rubble. However, your Arbites escorts are dead. You've lost a troop of stormtroopers, and Bo-Katan has died. His cyber mastiff is on top of him, just pawing at his chest while he doesn't move. And then you just see it turn. Red lights glow down its body, and it leaps up the wall. It clears 20 feet straight up, and you just hear screaming and see blood spraying out of the side as the Cybermassive goes nuts.
I raise my arms Shawshank style and just say, "The Emperor's path, forward, my friends. Forward, the Marines shall not bother us again."
And with that, the vehicles do roll out directly forwards. The chimeras sprint towards the rear of the Citadel. Fire is coming in from around your group, from the walls. However, they did not have anti-tank weapons at the innermost defenses while everything was coming from outside. That first triumph is still paying off. Nice. Your chimera squeals to a halt. It moves horizontally. It almost Tokyo drifts to block the governor's elevator. Warden jumps out of the front. Warden has been driving, which is why you had a driver that clever. And your squad unloads. The back of the Chimera opens. Stormtroopers hurry out. You do have Maximilian and 8 troopers with you. They are your definitive guards. The other Chimera is pouring fire outwards and unloads stormtroopers who begin to storm towards the walls. About half of that squad die. You would estimate 6 go down. None of you are looking terribly closely because to look means you're visible to the enemy, but you do see others clear to the lee of the wall and begin moving into gatehouses and moving upwards. However, your focus is on this fucking elevator. You know you have a very limited amount of time for this to start working, which is why we are going to have to do a series of checks and see how well they go to know how many defenders could start to move towards that chimera and start to move towards you. We will, who wants to roll it? We are going to be using Ignatius Ironforth stats, not any of yours. So it's just who wants to physically roll the dice to represent the Mechanicus boy that you guys befriended into becoming an inquisitorial agent.
Look, you know I love my sweet, sweet boy, but after these dice rolls, I am not touching my dice phone.
Hey, I did a success and 1 triumph, or 2 successes and triumph. Let's
true.
keep this baby going.
Do it up.
Let's do it, Piper.
Gonna eat those words in a minute.
Yep. The cool thing
Alrighty.
about dice is they keep giving you the same result no matter how many times you rolled.
Yeah.
So you are using Ignatius's tech use skill, which is 3 yellow,
Ooh,
1
nice.
green, and an automatic boost. You are
automatic boost.
and
one
oh,
boost
sorry, you
dice?
just get a boost. You get a boost. It's
I get a
already
boost. Okay,
it's
cool.
already in it just for him existing. You get an additional boost because you are starting with the genetic sample of Gazzy beforehand.
Nice.
At the same time, the difficulty against you is 5.
Baby.
Because as Ignatius plugs in, he confirms that yes, indeed, this is a very encrypted system, and all of the cutouts that you would expect to be required for a legal governor have been removed, and it's no longer working off of the sample of Gazzy that you have. So he's having to build forward, and it's very hard.
Would I be able to assist him in any way? We haven't really seen this side of Seth too much, but he has some tech use kind of acumen.
What is your tech use score?
Tech use, he has 1 rank and he's got 4 intellect.
Yeah, you're pretty good. All right, I'm going to let you add... We're going to let this shit get random. You guys are now going to have the equivalent of 5 yellow. Between Seth and his ability to hack systems in a way that Ignatius may not have been aware of, because if you know how to hack systems and you're dealing with the Mechanicus, you have to know shit they don't, because you can't learn it from them and you have to think a different way. So we will say Seth has joined in with his incredibly high tech skill, which is why I'm allowing this.
Cool.
To move that. So difficulty of 5.
Difficulty 5. I got 5 yellow dice.
Great. For the difficulty of 5, you're going to need to make 3 of them red.
Woo!
Because these are not we're fucking around tech priests that you're working with here.
Okay.
I will let you know this first check will be the hardest of these. As you get used to the system, they will be decreasing in intensity as they go, but that also means the opposition to you will be ramping up coming to the courtyard.
Okay.
I'm going to spend a story point to make a 4th one red.
Ooh, yikes.
You may also spend story points.
So the thing is, we've got right now as it stands 5 yellow versus 4 red and 1 purple plus 2 boost. So I mean, odds are in our favor, but we can use.
According to our current rules, if you spend a story point, you would get another green die.
I'm okay with that. You want to spend another story point, folks?
And I don't want to get held up here. Yeah.
That would be
cool.
Yeah, this is not a great place for us to hang out.
All
Between
right.
Hammer and Anvil.
Adding an ability die. All right. Am I good to roll?
Let's see what happens.
Okay, not horrible. 2 successes, 1 threat.
2 successes, 1 threat. Ignatius hooks into the system, and with Seth's support, the rest of you facing outwards but doing that special forces glancing over shoulder to see what's happening, as this does take a full 2 minutes. You are hearing gunshots, you are hearing screams, you can hear things coming to and from the walls, and shots are pinging off of the Chimera. The challenge is none of you can go out to see how close they are, because if you do, then you are in the line of fire. So it is a desperate, tense hold as Seth and Ignatius both frantically work the system. Seth, you're working more physically, rerouting, reshunting power, being able to use your knowledge of how to short out things that Ignatius wouldn't do, because that would be breaking his religious tenets of how to deal with the system. He still innately has to respect a machine. He's just trying to win it over, whereas you don't care if you stab the machine and make it bleed out.
Right.
However, at the last second, the elevator door does open, and you are all able to enter. Ignatius is the last one to follow towards you. However, a massive electrical shock shifts out of the unit that he is plugged into, hammering him down to the ground where he is shorting, sparking, and unable to move until you see the power go out in Ignatius's eyes, and he is disabled as the elevator doors close, separating him from you, and you begin to rise up towards the entire part of this palace.
Yeah.
It is a long, uncomfortable ride. What positions do you get in for when the door opens? Is there anything else you do? There are more than 8 billion lives on the line, so there's also a question of just how do you all prepare for when these doors open?
Just a clarification, is Invictus still with us?
Invictus is still with you.
So,
Right.
Okay. So Piper's
standing-
just using echolocation to...
Well, you're being rushed by the stormtroopers. Also, Invictus is on the far side of the elevator. He's not hugging you like he did.
Okay.
And how untouchable rules work in this game is he adds 2 difficulty to your roll if he is in the room. He adds 4 if he's in engagement range. He's specifically staying out of that. You can also, at this point, he's a tiny man with a melt-a-gun. He's not really destined for storming the palace, but he'll do it if he needs to. You could tell him to remain behind. Somebody's going to need to hold the elevator, because if it goes back down, the people coming up are not friendly.
Right.
I will lower my bolter, having thought of a different option to solve that problem.
I thought that too.
Great. Seth and I will both look to each other with that begrudging buddy cops who finally got it together in the final moments. Not the main guys, but the shitty cops who are always yelling at the buddy cops, being we get it now.
I mean, I do want to balance this by saying At the same time, if you want Piper to be at full skill going out the door into that room, he does need to die.
Okay,
I wasn't
great.
trying to just argue in his favor. Just
No,
want to balance the
I
whole
understand.
story.
You're giving us an option. Well, in that case, I think the real question is, Seth, would you or I get to him first?
I mean, he's your friend.
Yeah, great.
So I think I would get to him faster because I don't have a problem with it.
Honestly, I was planning on shooting him
Dell's
before we
face.
got out of the car. So this is, I mean, if you can get to him first, I think that's fair. But yeah,
This
I
doesn't
planned
need to
on.
be a race. We can do this together.
All right. Well, basically, as the elevator's going up, I'll just kind of look to him, and I guess Seth, I assume you do as well. Maybe a look passes between your dead eyes and my one eye, and I'll just nod to you. I think. Because I think you can do this quieter and not waste a bolt, whereas mine is messy and explodey.
Oh, well, yeah, I have the bolt pistol. Yeah, okay. Then it's just bolt pistol out of the holster, aimed at like the base of his neck, and I squeeze.
I feel.
No.
Oh my god! I feel like Piper, if she'd hadn't been like blunted at all, she might have like sensed this was happening and might have tried to interject because we don't know what we're facing, and Invictus might be helpful. But
One melted gun won't make that much of a difference. Yeah, I'll just hold up the rosette
but
and
as
say,
such, she stays quiet.
Yeah, Invictus's face explodes outwards, spraying the wall just out of his head. So there's no brain matter. He slumps to the floor, and all of you feel weirdly better. Like in a deep, like Piper, your vision comes back. For the rest of you, it does feel like a weight that was weighing on you is released.
yeah, and I'll just hold up the rosette inside the elevator, kind of like Captain America being like, anybody want to get off? And I'll just say, in the Emperor's voice, I should add, it was the Emperor's will, everybody.
And
so back to work.
You
Then
get
I'll
a
sling it
quiet,
out over my shirt.
so you get a quiet click on your Vox, Nero, and you just hear Maximilian say, "We're gonna get to kill the governor before you have to execute us, right?"
And I'll say, Maximilian, you're you're absolutely going to get to kill the governor. B, I gotta tell
Perfect. Just a second. And he raises his hell gun and just guns down one of the stormtroopers on the other side. And he's like, he was the only one who had a problem if we were all gonna die.
Hey, I appreciate you on that. That's great. Okay, phenomenal. Yeah, no, absolutely. But also, we're all true servants of the Emperor here. And the Emperor willed Piper here to be able to unleash hell upstairs. Invictus was going to stand in the way of that. He had to go. I'm losing a lot of friends today, but I'm not losing you. I'm not losing any of the rest of you, except that guy. To point to the dead stormtrooper.
Great.
And
I'd like to add some quick updates to the Inquisitor's orders. No, you can absolutely lose U6. And he points to the Suicide Kings. He's like, they all make it. We do our fucking job. Governor dies. Deal? Deal. It's not fucking up for negotiation. And it seems to actually, from what you can see in the armor, this level of disrespect and you're gonna die is psyching up these fucking guys. The challenge of being a Suicide King for Lucia Bane is you do have to be ready to die any day. But House Bane was so powerful that you never got to kind of be let off the leash. And today they're off the fucking leash. So what position do you guys want to get into? And what are your own kind of like centering things that you do before combat? Because you have about 30 seconds before the next occurrence.
I think Mina is up front in the elevator. I was standing with the Suicide Kings and also getting pretty hype with them about like, fuck, die time. Like, that's definitely getting her into that like hype, like running into battle place. So,
Do you want to lead us in a prayer, sister?
Oh, I think we're going to do quite a bit of praying with our swords very soon.
I like her. We're all going to die together. So there's fucking amped. So they're good with you up front. So there's a wall of Sister Mina in the center and 7 stormtroopers. Is like a wall of armored flesh between you guys and the door. What's happening with the other three of you?
That just as fluff, the one and only song I came prepared to this season with was dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and stab in the back of the heretic.
Yay!
No.
Good God. That is the fucking best. Well done.
And
Del.
Maximilian says, wait, I got that one. And he turns on in your internal Vox. You now have 40K's Dragula just playing in your ears. Just you and the assault troops. The others get to have their own experience. But
Having hype time.
Look, I can safely say that any version of Dragula is a good version of Dragula. So the 40K one, despite no doubt being spikier and having more skulls, honestly, that just adds to it. So, I love that, but I can't hear it. So just Tom loves that. Cool. I'd like to go last if I could.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. In the name of the Inquisition.
Seth's preparation, I think, would be after killing Invictus, turning to Piper and saying, Piper, can you conceal us or protect us in any way as these doors open?
Laura's checking. Well, I mean, honestly, like not without knowing what's on the other side and like who's on the other side and like getting into their mind. So
would our stormtrooper guard here and Sister Mina, if they're charging forward, that buy you the time you need to figure out what's going on in there and figure out who's in the room and whose heads you can get into?
What we could say mechanically is, for Piper, if you were to do a pseudo meditation now, I will give you 2 boosts towards any psychic check that you do use coming out of the elevator.
Yeah. Okay. I have distort perceptions, which I can do.
So what does that do mechanically?
So what I would do, so basically a target, so basically one person would lose all awareness of an object.
What I'm going to say is use that power if you want, increase the difficulty of the check by 1. And what I will say is it will increase the difficulty of anybody shooting at the stormtroopers or Mina by 1 as they come out of it. So you can't affect them all in the sense of you can't blind somebody, you can't do something big, but you can just distort them enough that it'll make things harder. However, it's a tougher check for you if you want to do that with your psychic powers, because that seems reasonable to me. Which is
it's already like it's already 2 extra difficulty for me to do that. So
what difficulty does that put it at for you to do that? Is that 4?
3, 4 difficulty.
Okay, no, I'm fine with that. That's where I thought that should have sat, would be a difficulty of 4 with 1 red, right?
Yeah, always 1 red.
Cool. So if you want to do that, let's see if this pays off. So Piper, do you close your eyes when you're trying to do this? What does this visually look like as they ask you to do something and then you just start doing it?
I think, especially because Invictus was just killed, I think I will upgrade the difficulty of one of the dice to give myself another automatic success.
Okay.
And as I'm doing, that's called pushing, by the way. And what I'm doing is I think I'm just kind of like I'm breathing very deeply, like almost what you would do in like at the beginning of a meditation, but it becomes like really intense. And it's me literally like, it's almost like I'm drawing in the powers from the warp.
Cool. Did they see anything visually when this happens? Like, does it get cold? Do you have light in your eyes? What?
Oh yeah. So I think what would happen is, as I breathe, it's almost like every time I breathe in, the room just gets like a degree colder. And every time, but when I exhale, there's like no change. So it's literally just like every breath in, it's just getting a little bit colder.
Great. And now roll, and let's see what happens.
Hey! Oh God! Hey! 2 successes, 3 advantages.
Nice.
You did it. What does the distortion look like for the unaugmented around you? Because it would look equally strange for Seth and Nero as it would for the enemy.
What it looks like is basically, I think you can, it's almost like when you're looking at something directly, it's like the opposite of a blind spot. Like your blind spot is now in the center of your vision.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like if you're looking for something.
Well, it's almost like looking like a flash.
It's almost
bulb
like you
goes
see
off.
something out of the corner of your eye, and as soon as you look to it, there's nothing there.
So you can see every trooper except the one you're looking at, which is deeply fucked up for anyone having to observe that. So Seth and Nero, you're both comforted and horrified when you discover that this is true, but Piper is now freezing the elevator and people are harder to see. What do you do in preparation now, Seth? You have this moment for yourself.
I think Seth is always trying to think ahead. So his preparation is not usually like in the moment. His preparation is asking Piper what she can do. His preparation is shooting Invictus in the back of the head. He is thinking about that kind of stuff. So I think he just, in anticipation of the doors opening, he stands up and turns to the side to make himself a smaller target. And he has his bolt pistol drawn and his wrist-mounted plasma gun, I think is what it is.
Yes,
his wrist-mounted plasma pistol on his other hand also. So he's almost doing like a weird like fusion dance kind of look. He's standing sideways. He's got his one wrist kind of at chest level pointing out into the where the doors will open and his other arm extended holding his bolt pistol.
The classic plasma dab.
Yeah.
All right. And Nero, you are last. So how do you prepare yourself?
So having just like dropped the rosette around my throat after making sure everyone knew we were doing the Inquisition's will, still with fresh, vivid images in my mind of both watching Ignatius get his fried and then Invictus's head explode. Friends are dropping like flies. So I think he like looks around the elevator coming from the back, and at this point I think like there's no way the template piece is hanging on. I feel like it's all just starting to kind of shred and collapse. Not that he's getting his old memories back, just that like it's getting harder and harder, I think, to remember anything. Everything is just a flash of something that could or could not have existed or happened. And so as he like readies the bolter, which again is like old and weathered, and the only thing that kind of has traveled with him through his multiple lives, it kind of looks to that as almost a totem of some sort, like a remnant of a life he can't remember, but each burn mark and scratch and nick on it is from something he's experienced. And then he'll kind of look up around the elevator and like everyone's getting psyched up. So he's going to say this under his breath. He's not actually saying this to anyone because everyone's kind of doing their own thing. So it's partially for him. But he just kind of mutters, listen, Emperor Horus, whoever, Billingberg, whoever is out there, you didn't give me a lot, or maybe you did, but not much that I've actually got, but I know that for at least a little while I had these folks. Okay. So here's the deal. If they don't make it through this, whatever shred of me ends up in your fucking warp-infested maw is going to eat you from the inside out. I'm going to burrow into your brain like a maggot and slowly take from you everything the way you've taken it from me if a single one of these people falls. But I do thank you for the short time I had with them. That's something, at least. And then I'll just kind of lean back, cock the gun, and kind of smile and be like, I guess in the end I did have one name though, right? So here's Count Kornos and Isabel. I'll just cock the gun, and then I'm going to put it over Mina's shoulder, fucking Furiosa style, because I'm going to use her as a riot shield, because I'm not planning on hanging back. There's not a whole hell of a lot I can do back here. So I'm just planning on going John Wick with a assault weapon in as we go. And I'll just mutter to Mina. I think the one person I would actually say something to would be like, stab in the back of the heretics. And then I'll just be ready.
And with a ding, the elevator door opens and gunfire greets you. Mina, you're the first person to make this out as it opens at the center. There are a line of 3 gun servitors with heavy bolters that open fire the moment the elevator opens. We now roll a die to see what happens. They successfully cut down 5 of the stormtroopers around you. In an absolute miracle, they do not hit Mina or any other member of the party because Nero, you went behind Mina. Mina is at the dead center of the group, so all of the gun servitors looked to her immediately. She blanked. They switched to a second target and opened fire. So it shredded the majority of your bodyguards who returned fire. Let's see how successful that is. If everyone could roll me, each of you individually, because then we will add these up on the gun servitors. This will be ranged light. If you want to roll for Warden, Laura, we'll just use his stats as representing stormtroopers. Everyone else can choose your weapon and fire away. Mina, I feel like because you are storm shielding Nero, you probably are not shooting things because you would have the sword in hand. Nero, I will give you 2 boost for the fact that Mina is your Furiosa platform.
What's our difficulty?
Difficulty will be 2. This is right up fucking close. Theirs was worse, I will say, because your magics affected them.
They always were susceptible to my magics.
Killing 5 was worse.
Yeah. They may have rolled a triumph.
Ryan, you said difficulty 3, correct?
Difficulty 2. You're right up close.
Yeah,
Okay.
beauty.
Anything else we're adding?
I would say boost. I think everybody's fucking aimed. It's not like you're not pointing in the right direction at this point. So, Nero, I'll say that'll be 3 boost for you because you're getting the Mina enhancement as well. And at that point, now we can roll unless anyone wants to use story points. I don't.
I'm good.
What are we at, Ryan?
You guys have 3 and I have 2 because I used one on my servitor friends.
I am going to use 1 because I think Nero suspects that he will be shot to death immediately. Like he gets 1 round of shooting and then it's done. And knowing he has Mina in front of him, it's just like, I don't think there was a version of this where he didn't get, fucking sunnied from the Godfather up against a car. Okay.
All right, we're doing this.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Okay, not bad. Warden was 2 successes, 2 threats.
All right.
I think that's the best combat roll I've ever seen for Seth. 3 successes, 3 advantages. He's firing with his plasma pistol.
Nice. Nero.
Screaming Snickers snack, motherfuckers. I roll 5 successes, 6 advantage.
Holy shit.
Okay. Between
I have Dracula in my heart.
The servitors are destroyed in a wave of fire. This is close up Warhammer 40K meets British troops in a line just mulching each other. So in less than half a second of violence, 5 stormtroopers and 3 gun servitors collapse. The air is rife with burnt oxygen from the plasma gun, the various smells of the different rounds of the weapons, just explosive smoke from the bolt weapons. And you have a moment of silence where you all, I imagine, pile out tactically to clear the room. You are in an antechamber. You know from your previous times here, there's a hallway, and then you are in the seating area where you had traditionally talked with Gazzy. And then on the other side of that are kind of mirror world. There are rooms around and in other areas. You know that there's the medical suite that you saw while you were here for the interrogations earlier. There are the bedrooms. There are a number of places you could go. However, you do hear a vox click on, and it begins echoing through the hallways. And you hear Gazzy's voice. Well, finally you're here. You've almost ruined everything, and you could still ruin everything, which is why we're going to play my game, which is I'm in my maze. And if you wait, then there's just going to be a whole army coming up after you. So you're going to have to walk into my trap, and you're going to have to come to me. Or at the end of this, there just won't be any of you, like there was supposed to be in the first place. Good hunting. And his voice clicks off. And you realize, with 4 of you and 3 stormtroopers, you now have to face a mirror maze filled with gun servitors and other traps. And at the center of it is a Homo Novus. He made us, and we love him. We can do nothing else, but he made us to hunt, to kill prey, and now the prey challenges us, and he says, wait, why? audio captured from First Mother Igori, leader of the Homo Novus. You are all advancing into the mirror maze that is at the center of the governor's citadel. The first question I have is, do you leave the stormtroopers behind to guard the elevator to prevent people from coming after you, but then you have no bullet shields? Or do you bring them with you, knowing that the next elevator could contain enemies behind you?
My question is, how 40K is this elevator? Like, if I drag a headless corpse halfway across the threshold so the doors can't close, is it going to cut him in half and go down anyway with legs inside?
Your guess would be yes.
God
it is
damn it,
clearly heavy
40K.
duty. It's clearly designed to get people in and out of the area. Or is there something you want to do to sabotage it? You have a stack of grenades. I'm imagining Nero would have that. Like,
yeah. Trust me, I got that. I watch Seth start to drag a body, and I say, actually, hang on. Can you hold that for me for a second? And I'm just going to walk in like a fucking child, push all the buttons, like a few floors down from us, click a grenade, drop it in, doors close, and I'll just give a quick thumbs up, and then like walk away like a cool guy who doesn't look at explosions, knowing that the explosion won't happen anywhere near me.
Yeah.
But
and
honestly,
behind him, just the door dents outwards. And then you hear the elevator does move, but it does not sound good now. Like, there's a lot of creaking. You're hearing grinding. Like, you would not want to ride that elevator.
Look, it wouldn't be a Valentyne Heresy season finale if an elevator didn't get hit by a grenade and like become dangerous. So.
Yeah. So with the stormtroopers with you, then I assume you advance towards the mirror maze. What is your strategy for approaching the mirror maze? You know that there are a number of servitors and other traps within it. You do have 3 stormtroopers that remain. There's Maximilian and 2 more Suicide Kings.
I think Mina will be fine taking point, but for the most part, we'll stay with Nero and be the Nero shield. And if there's gun servitors, if there's something going on, I think she's just gonna. It worked last time. Gonna keep doing that.
Yep. The Suicide Kings, knowing you are guarding Nero, will put someone in front of you. They consider all 4 of you to be the asset that they are protecting, to use bodyguard terms at this point. Mm-hmm. They won't actually follow your directions if you tell them to not protect you. They're here to do the job now. So you can consider them like Mina, V of stormtroopers, 1 to each side and 1 in front.
Sure.
Seth, would you be pulling up the rear? Do you think Piper and Warden would be pulling up the rear? How's this formation moving?
I think Seth would want to be in the middle because he has developed a semblance of familiarity with this place. So he wants to be able to direct from not too far back.
Right.
So I think he'd be in the middle.
I would... Sorry, go ahead, Laura.
I was just saying, I think Piper has a bit of an advantage here because she isn't burdened with like ocular sight.
Conventional sight.
Instead, she has like, blessed sight, which give her the ability to perceive things that would be invisible to the eye, potentially. So I think Piper would probably be playing a role to help augment Mina in giving her basically like because Piper's range is long for that ability, I think she would be able to sort out at least somewhat have a better idea of the true path within the maze.
If Seth is the one calling the direction because he's the most familiar with the maze, do you want to augment Seth, who's saying where to go, or Mina, who's on point?
I guess Seth on because it would be giving Seth essentially a better idea.
Okay, so with that in mind, I was going to suggest if it was Mina that you should get in front of me. If it isn't Mina, I'd say stay behind me because then the bullets have to go through like stormtroopers, Mina, and like I'm squishy, but the body glove and the mesh coat aren't. Yeah. So that gives you like 3 layers of protection. I mean, this is Titanic hull situation, so like it's not really going to help, but it might help a little bit.
So we've got 3 stormtroopers and a V in the front, Mina directly behind them. Then there's Nero with Seth and Piper with him, and Warden pulling up the rear.
Yeah, I think that
as the big gunner in the back.
Yeah.
So there are 3 entrances. As you come into the sitting area, there's a left entrance, there's a center entrance, and there's a right entrance. Which one do you take?
Which one have I taken historically?
You have always entered through the one on... Oh, man, you're looking at it from the opposite direction. The one on your right or the left from if you were coming from the other elevator.
Then that's the one that Seth would be directing the team towards.
Great. Let's roll to see how you do as you start moving around this. Seth, we will let you make the primary rolls because you are deciding where things are moving.
Now,
Okay.
Ryan, mechanically, I would augment each turn, and if any success would add an ability die.
Okay, we will have you
Seth's
roll
checks.
each time Seth is rolling to represent a stretch of travel as opposed to, it's not one die to rule them all, but it's going to be more effective than every turn because that's crazy. Let's have you roll first then to augment Seth to see how that helps.
So it's a default average difficulty check.
Okay.
And then I'm not going to add anything on that because I think that's great.
That's very reasonable. Let's see what happens.
All right, rolling. 2 successes, 3 advantages.
Alrighty, so Seth, you will get an extra die. Is that correct?
Yeah, it just
extra
says
green?
if successful, target adds 1 ability die.
Yep. So you'll get an extra
it
green
can't
die.
stack the effects. So there you go.
Yeah, green
Just
is
1.
ability, so yeah, that makes sense.
Great. So Seth, we are going to go with, in this case, I would accept Streetwise or Survival.
Oh my goodness, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Let's do survival because it's just that much nicer.
Great. You are going to get 1 boost representing the fact that you have played around in this maze before.
Mhm.
However, you now know through your augment as you begin moving towards it, the very first turn of the maze is different than when you have been in here before.
Yeah, of course.
And you
of
quickly
course.
realize, looking at the floor, that there are a number of different scrape marks where the mirror floor has not been completely cleaned. They can funnel you in different directions and move around pieces of the maze. So this is as much a psychological test as it is memory. You'll have to figure out how the maze is moved, not just the order it was in when you had come previously.
Okay.
The difficulty on this will be 3 red, 1 purple, 1 setback die. Because this was created by a technological genius.
Let's see if there's anything I can do to goose that for us. Nope.
And I am going to spend a story point as well, so it'll actually be 4 red.
Okay. 0 purple, 4 red.
Yep. And you have 1 setback die.
And I've got the setback in there. Yeah. Okay. Now, let me ask you this, sir. I started this with my with like a tracking device and a picked fly that I used on Lucia Bane. When we talked about packing things up, would I have restocked that, or are we giving those as like a one-off kind of thing? I'm fine either way because I didn't explicitly say that I packed it up.
You'd give it. You dropped both on Lucia Bane, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you would have needed to requisition further equipment as opposed to it just being there.
Got it.
You do have your tracking file, so I don't know if you would have use for it, but the idea that you could drop, say, a data pad and track it with another data pad, that would be possible. I legitimately don't know what your strategy is, so I can't say how that'd help you or not, but you could do it.
My only thing was if this starts to go like really sideways, to just send a picked fly out to scout because it has a camera feed.
Right now, what you do have are 3 stormtroopers who all have Vox speeds. So you can send a person, but you can't send a fly.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use a story point for this roll just to get that kind of figured out and see where we stand. So I'm at 3 yellow, 3 green versus 4 red, 1 black. I also have a blue. So kind of even, pretty even. I'm ready to roll.
Let's see what happens.
Okay. We came out on top, folks. 1 success, 2 advantages, 1 triumph.
Very nice.
Right on.
Very nice.
There were 5 failures that had to be negated for us to come to this result.
Yeah. You begin to advance through the maze. There are servitors that are closing in and opening fire. You do lose 2 of the stormtroopers through this because they are in the front taking the bullets for the team. The triumph means any of them are still alive and none of you got shot. It's a fucking nasty maze. This is a circus maze from hell. Pieces of mirror are rising up and lowering down, revealing nothing, revealing servo skulls with targeters and no guns, or revealing heavy bolters, auto guns, auto cannons. The floor is opening up. There are silent bursts of needles coming around corners. It's absolutely deadly, but between the psyker powers that are subtly enhancing Seth and Seth's own burgeoning understanding of the maze, you are able to continue through it, searching for your ultimate target. Seth, I will give you another boost on your next check towards this.
Okay.
As you were advancing, however, you do hear the voice click on again over the Vox playing through, saying, "This all would have been so much easier if you just hadn't come. I didn't need you for this plan, and every step of the way you just refused to die. You refused to die. I set so many traps. How do you think Jacinta found out about the financial exchange? Why do you think so many houses found so much blackmail material? You were just supposed to die and get out of the way, and it all would have been so easy." Then there's just a flamethrower that torches your second stormtrooper, and he goes up screaming and is put down by Maximilian. It is time for the second roll to continue through the maze.
All right. 4 difficulty with a story point, or are you sitting on?
I am spending a story. I'm
time?
spending a story point again, so you're looking at four difficulty.
Four reds, 1 setback. But I have 2 boost.
You have 2 boost, though we do need to get another augment check.
Yes,
from Piper.
Ooh, baby, let's do it. Okie dokie.
What difficulty is this for you, Piper?
Average.
I don't know what that means.
Average
How many
means
dice?
2, right?
2, and one of them is red, correct?
Yeah.
Because it's cycle.
So it's 1 purple, 1 red. Always.
Right. That sounds good.
Okay.
I am going to say that your abilities are being a little baffled by the mirrors. Some of them may have psyker qualities to them or gems involved that you're not entirely sure of. So add 2 setback to this roll.
Yikes.
I am really glad we shot that man.
Okay. And I'm basically like at this moment as I focus, I am clutching the symbol I wear around my neck of the Adeptus Astropathica. It's my devotional icon. It may mean something. We'll see how I roll. 4 successes, 1 threat. I do get to cancel. I can cancel up to 2 threat because I have that icon.
Great. No threat then. You just do manage to augment Seth. So Seth, you get that additional ability die for this roll.
So that's keyed in. I'm going to use a story point again.
Okay.
I think the story point comes in the form of that last stormtrooper getting set on fire. I think instead of Maximilian putting him down, I just kick him in the back to like make him stumble forward further into the maze to like trigger more stuff.
Yep. Let's find out what that does.
Yeah. Roll dice. Okay. 4 advantages only. Everything else washed out.
All righty.
These reds are nasty.
I've got a pitch for you, Ryan. If you,
I want to listen. What are you thinking?
That sounds to me like maybe the guy stumbles forward, gets impaled by like a wall of spikes or some shit. It doesn't tell us where to go, but it does narrow down where not to go.
Yeah, I think it does that for sure. So what we will say is those results will mean this was originally going to be 4 checks to get through the maze. Those advantages will mean you have 1 more check to get through the maze. However, with the lack of success, as you continue through this maze and a number of traps go off, it is tragic. But Sister Mina, you're about to take a step around a corner and get blasted by a servitor with a plasma cannon built into its right arm. You are about to get tagged when all of a sudden you just feel an iron hand on your shoulder pull you back and just say, "Not today." And Maximilian jumps in front of you and takes a plasma cannon blast that melts through his torso and destroys the mirror behind him. And Maximilian falls with one hand just sliding down your arm, and he's making eye contact as the life leaves his eyes. What are your last words to Maximilian Phoenix Bane?
Sit at the side of the Emperor, Maximilian.
And he is gone. He dies on the floor of a trap set for all of you and this system. Seth, it is time for the final roll to get to the center of this maze. Let's see what happens.
Do we start with Piper giving me the
That would be wise.
psyker advantage?
Yeah. So am I keeping with the 2 setback, Ryan?
Yes. Actually, it'll be 3 setback this time
3
because
setbacks?
the closer you get to the center, the more they've clearly built these devices in. They're very expensive and they're subtle enough that you wouldn't know when you started because a lot of this is designed to get people into the maze clearly. So it was the weakest outside, but there's more around you as you go.
Okay.
And I will be using a story point on your difficulty there, Seth, just so you know.
I will also be using a story point.
I won't even
For
change
me?
it.
No.
No, not for you. For
Okay.
Seth. Don't worry. Oh, yeah, I'll use one for you. Why not? I feel like we should crank this up. This is high stakes shit. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna use one back at you.
Great.
Okay, I'm rolling. Oh no. Okay. 2 successes, 2 advantages, and yet
Despair.
1 despair. Ryan.
So what are the rules for
you can-
despair and psychers?
So the effect Perils of the Warp may be triggered whenever a roll to manifest a psychic power generates 3 threat or 1 despair. So Ryan, if you would like Perils of the Warp to be triggered.
Oh, it's not an option. Perils of the Warp are being triggered. But this spell worked, right?
Yes, it's 2 successes and 2 advantages. It's just that
Right.
it worked, but also like
There's a cost.
hello, Warp.
Well, Laura, let's walk into Perils
Hello,
of the Warp.
Warpy, my
So
old friend.
the nice thing is that you can't add anything. What you do is you roll a d10, and there's a table of effects.
Great. Do you know what page that table is on? Or do you have that table in front of you?
I have that table in front of me.
Well, then I'm not rolling this d10 because really it's you who gave yourself the Perils of the Warp. So I feel like you should summon your own punishment.
Okie dokie.
Those
One
of you
moment.
listening at home, Laura is digging through a bag to find a D10, something you only need if you have truly, truly fucked up somewhere in Dark Heresy, be it a critical injury of some sort or
Let's use a
Perils
dark
of the
red
Warp.
one. I feel like that's appropriate.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Dice for the
Color
dice
of the
god.
enemy's
7.
challenge dice.
No, it's not low.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So 7 is gullibility. The Psyker's power backfires, causing her to become extremely susceptible to suggestion by others. For the next 5 hours, the Psyker adds 2 setbacks to all present checks and 3 setbacks to all opposed social interaction checks.
You just became Nero.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So make a note of that. The power backfires, which means there is no successful cast. You are just now incredibly just susceptible to persuasion. Seth, this is very concerning for you because you had a great confidence in this maze. And what we've established with Piper's augment is you're not aware that it's Piper augmenting you, which just means you become less confident all of a sudden as you have no guards to cover you. I will ask you to add another 2 setback to this roll.
Total of 3 setback.
Yes.
Okay. You're using a story point. I'm using a story point. So I factored those in already. I think it manifests as before we see the result of my decision of like guiding us next kind of thing. I think I just say like, wait. And we all like pause. And Seth is like looking and listening for something, but he doesn't know what it is. And then he just says, all right, forward. And we go and he rolls 3 successes, 1 triumph, 2 threats.
This is an interesting spread.
Whoa.
Seth, you lead the group forwards. You manage to dodge a series of close-rated traps until a mirror drops down and a servitor with a heavy bolter just opens on full auto. Mina is at the front of the group, though, and it is firing from in front of her. So she just hunkers down, and you all match beside her. She starts sliding back along the floor as the heavy bolter rounds pound into her storm shield, and it takes all three of you leaning the other way to be able to help her withstand the force coming at her. Mina, can you take 1 point of damage to your health that you cannot soak, because this is just being rattled internally by this coming at you? However, smoke begins to fill the maze around you, and you begin to hear laughter, and mentions of Kornos and Isabella and Vorpal Blade start echoing through the maze around you. And suddenly, in a flash of electrified light, the servitor is split in half as one of the Harlequins, flipped upside down, backflips through the maze to eliminate the servitor. You realize at this point, as you look around, there are Eldar Harlequins standing on the roof and on the floor and all the walls of the maze around you, and they're blocking every path except one. As you look down that path, you begin to see servitors fall, mirrors shatter, gunshots are punching through traps. The Harlequins are leaving you with a straight line, and as you pass each of them, they begin to bow or gesture and point towards where you are heading, chanting Kornos and Isabella, Kornos and Isabella.
And in Eldari, I will say, thank you for opening the way, which I can do for reasons. Someone who may be pre-template may have had access to that language in a way that someone who is post-template does not. I'll just like, as I walk, just keep being like, thank you. You've shown us the way. Now is the time. Now is the time. Like, greeting them like I'm fucking like walking the red carpet. And the Eldar
join you in this walk as you move forwards, a small number of them. You can recognize from what you would know, a lot of the Eldar are colorfully dressed. You're seeing the same fields around them, almost squares and flashes of color appearing around them. They clearly have refractor fields or some sort of Eldari equivalent. Again, some of them are walking on the roof and some of them the floor, and they can switch at will. They're all clearly changing reality around them. But if you were to guess, looking at the four who end up being the closest to you, there is one that is the fanciest dressed of any of them, the most heroic in terms of the molding of his mask and the other parts of his uniform. He has a power sword in one hand, but not the blunt, crude instrument of the Imperium. This is an elegant, long, sleek, curved, almost scimitar. Only while you look at it, you can tell it is flawlessly balanced and is lightning fast. They're all so graceful that it is almost uncomfortable and shaming to look at them in comparison to yourselves. Next to him is one with a long staff, a mirrored mask. From this one, Piper, you can sense a psyker power that is far more natural and reserved than your own. It makes you feel kind of raw, dangerous, uncultured. You would be the equivalent of, let's say, a machete. This is a scalpel, and you are equally close, so the scalpel is 1,000 times more skilled. There is also a shadowy figure in the back that leaves all of you uncomfortable, with devil horns peeking out from under a black hood, walking with a knife in each hand, still clearly a member of this band, but separated from all of the rest. And then there is just a simple patchwork Eldari. None of you can tell. This one doesn't appear to have a specific role. It seems almost to be, you would guess, a chorus member if this was the show of the Harlequins, just joining your group as well as you walk forwards and through a mirror that appeared to be solid but is not, and enter a central chamber. There is no maze in this portion. This is clearly the control center at the center of it. It is all wood and cloth and crude mechanical structures. When you look up, you can see mirrors that are aligned to allow anyone in this space to see every other part of the maze. And you can see the spider arms of the controls that are moving the paths back and forth and triggering the traps. So many of them have been spent. Some of the arms are broken, clearly only intended to be used once, but you succeeded through the maze. And at the center of this space are two figures. One is seated in a wheelchair, drooling like a moron. Rancid is still poorly dressed in a Zardoz-ish outfit, drooling in the corner, parked, completely ignored. But at the center of the room is Gazzy in a way you have never seen Gazzy before. Gazzy is standing fully upright, powerful, lithe, cold. He is pacing back and forth while watching you. Only there's a leonine quality to his movements now. He is a big cat. You've never realized Gazzy is big before because he was always a foot shorter than all of the other house leaders. But compared to all of you, he is taller. He is spinning a knife in one hand in that weird supernatural almost way that you see, performers with knives. Only he can trade it between hands, and he has one in both. And he is wearing a floor-length coat made of patches of human skin, each of them with a face that is screaming within the leather that is there.
Oh, that's fine.
And he looks at all of you and says, I don't care what friends you've brought. I'll eat them too. But I'm going to punish all of you because you've made me a disappointment to my father. I was the best trapper. And now I'm going to prove I'm the best hunter.
We're all disappointments to our fathers, Gazzy. Get used to it.
Horse taught me anything. It was that. I'll just cock my gun.
We are here as the Inquisition, sent to root out heresy. We are for the hand of the Emperor, and now you will feel the fist of his fury.
Piper says, I mean, you all had fathers. What the hell?
And then Warden just taps out on his arm, fuck this guy. And you're all ready to go into action when? Suddenly, Nero, you are kicked forwards out of the line of the rest of your compatriots by the troop master of the Harlequins. And the rest of them turn on the group around you. Seth, you suddenly find the sword of the cast member resting against your neck, holding you in place. And he leans forward and whispers to you, don't move. Piper, the horned figure appears out of the darkness, charging at you with the knife in each hand, and you find yourself going blind as you realize an untouchable is coming at you out of the Eldar band.
No.
Mina, you circle on the Shadow Seer and the Troop Master, who are both about to place themselves between you and Nero, raising your Vorpal blade when you feel the scalpel, a mind scalpel, one could say, inside your head, and suddenly you find yourself blind. You cannot see in front, behind, you have no sense of where you are, nor can you help Nero. And the Eldar, as one voice say, Count Kornos faces the beast alone.
I'll
Nero.
toss my bolter and kind of just extend a hand without looking back at them, but like getting a sense of what's going on. And just kind of call, I guess, to Mina in what I suspect may be one of the few remaining Nero ways he can be like, hey, yeah, Mina, hey, listen, yeah, sorry, I think I misread that thing. I'm going to need that Vorpal blade. Can you, you'll always be the arm of the Inquisition, but I think this time, my arm's got to do the snicker-snack business.
I'm going to spend a story point. The troop master leans forward and just smashes Mina in the face with his sword, while the Shadow Seer slaps her power sword out of her hand and just flips it towards you, Nero.
I'll lean down and pick it up, and I'm going to give them just fucking cut eye with my remaining eye. Because I think Nero realizes that the only way anyone walks is if this Count Kornos bullshit flies. But he also kind of admitted that maybe this is who he can be or whatever. So I'll reach for the blade and just lean back and just shake my head in a classic disappointed samurai way and drag the blade up into a like cloud strife stance where I'm holding it out in front of me, kind of double-handed. And I'll just I'll just fucking look at him and say, yeah, all right.
I'd like to whisper to the Eldari who's resting a blade against my neck. Just whisper back if I can.
Yeah, go for it.
Just, we heard your story, and in time came to learn who would play the role of One-Eyed Count Kornos and Isabella, but we still don't know how the story ends. What's about to happen?
Observe. The story is alive.
You
And with
don't
that, Nero,
know the end either. Damn.
do you charge at Gazzy, or do you have Gazzy come at you?
I have Gazzy come at me.
Great. From the sides, you hear the Eldari begin to chant in Gothic, which is unsettling unto itself. But the crowd the whole way around in the smoke are chanting, "Young Count Kornos, the one-eyed knight, with vorpal blades the darkness did fight." As you raise the sword, and Gazzy sprints towards you with terrifying speed.
Mm-hmm.
Are you set to strike the moment he comes at you, or are you letting him take the first hit? I just want to know where the fight's going in my mind.
Yeah, I'll just tell you, and then we can see how dramatically this happens or not. There's no world, prophecy or otherwise, where Nero Abagnale / Count Kornos can win this fight in a fair fight. So instead, his plan is literally like having this very wide stance with blade in both hands and kind of like I'm going to fight you way. And the plan is literally to just let Gazzy fucking come in and cut him up in the hopes that, well, he's getting cut to ribbons. He can jam a power sword through his shoulder and into his core. There's no defense here. The plan is like, I will fight you, but it's a feint to just try and strike a killing blow as he's being shredded is basically the what I'm going with this.
Great. Let's actually roll these attacks. Do you know what? I'm going to make that your attack, and I will make his skills the difficulty, because then it's still you striking. Or, yeah, that makes sense, because then we'll just see who lands their hit. You're going to get hit either way, but this feels like no, you have better odds the other way. No, we'll do the strike separately because you have better odds of hitting that way, and you should, because you're
also say that I'm going in with the Vorpal Blade. I'm also trying to Assassin's Creed him with whatever I can, whether it's Prison Shiv or Through the Eye, whatever I can manage. But yeah, this is literally maybe I can hurt him enough that other people can kill him later.
I will let you roll both of those attacks first. We will roll them separately, just so that we can keep track of that.
Fair enough.
You'll get the full power on the sword. It is flawlessly balanced and very high quality, so you'll only have some subtractions to your Assassin's Creed attack. We'll treat this as though it's a balance. So
right. Great. So,
in the meantime, I think Mina getting punched, spat blood, and then is staying down. But because she can't see and it's creepy elder chanting, she's just quietly praying and doing a prayer for Nero. Just Emperor, please protect your son. Please, Nero, walk the path of the Emperor.
Piper, how are you reacting to this? Because you were also incredibly susceptible to things right now.
Yeah. I think Piper is savvy enough to understand that she's being affected by something, even if she can't counter it. So I think she withdraws into her meditative state, into her black box, with hopefully the Emperor's light somewhere nearby.
Nice. All right, Nero, let's roll for your power sword attack first. That'll be melee light.
Yep.
The difficulty is traditionally 2. However, Gazzy is an adversary.
Agent Smith.
So he's an adversary, so you have to upgrade difficulty 3 times. So he becomes a difficulty 5.
Okay.
I will spend 1 story point to give him a red.
This is fine.
That's fair. And how many are we sitting on?
You currently have 3, and I have 2 after that spend.
All right. I will absolutely spend 1 to upgrade to a yellow.
Great.
I would like to petition, if I may, sir, for some boost for lacking any defense. So the idea being, so I think what I might argue for is 2 boost, 1 for each of the defense that my body glove or mesh coat might give me, that I would rather put towards attack than impeding his strikes.
That makes perfect sense to me. And he receives 1 defense, so 1 setback die for his more honestly, it's natural like ability to dodge things than it is any form of armor. He's just so fucking fast.
Fair
Coat
enough.
of Faces doesn't provide any kind of defense. It's just
Not really.
Well, it depends if I
The Coat of
recognize any of
Faces.
them. If I'm like, oh shit, it's Jim. That said, Ryan, so I wrote all the stats down for the power sword, knowing that this would probably happen, but I didn't necessarily look up what all of them were. Given that I've got breach 2, that would negate his soak or his defense.
Yeah, we'll take that out as soak. So defense will affect the ability to hit. Breach will be so how it traditionally works is there is pierce, which goes through soak, and then breach technically only does damage to vehicles, which I hate. So I argue breach, multiply it by 2, and that's what it'll do is pierce. So if it's breach 2, it's pierce 4.
Right. Against soak, not defense.
Against soak, not defense.
Great. And sunder would be if it hits, then it can have negative effect to his shit, but
Yeah.
that's a
Honestly,
pretty big
he's
if.
just carrying knives and a coat. Like this
I want to
motherfucker's
break those
coming at you
knives or
all him. It's
slightly
true.
ruin his coat. I might want to just fuck up his coat a little bit, you know?
It's possible. So let's see what happens.
All right, so we are rolling with 1 green, 2 yellow, 4 purple, 1 red, 2 blue, 1 black.
Yep, that sounds about right.
2 successes, 2 advantage.
Hey.
Nice.
So with the power sword, my brawn, that is 9 damage. Sorry, I lied. That is
your brawn?
My brawn is 3. The sword is 6. I got 2 successes, so that's a total of 11 for funsies.
That is good.
Plus 2 advantage, which I would like to spend on my next strike as 2 boost if I can, or 1 boost. It's 2 advantage for 1 boost, I believe.
Yeah, we'll carry 1 boost over to your next strike. So that makes sense to me.
Yep. And with the double, that'll be breach 4. I've got crit 2, but I need 2 advantage isn't enough for that. So womp.
Crit 2?
Is it? Or
Yeah,
can
that's
I trigger?
2 advantage. That's 2 advantage to spend
Great.
for a crit. So you can do that.
Fuck
So
the boost.
Fuck the boost. Yeah.
Trigger crit, baby.
Do you have a D100, my friend?
I've been known to indulge.
I've been known to indulge.
Gotta have it.
Roll dice socially.
Yeah, you know. I never inhaled the dice though. That is very interesting. That is a 4 on a D100.
That is a minor nick. He suffers 1 strain. That feels like bullshit to me, though. So we're gonna make it. Del, I was gonna say, Del, what
like
is
a
the?
minor nick. That's
Yeah,
funny.
it's stupid.
It's a bad roll. It's a real bad
It's
roll.
a terrible
I mean, if
roll.
it nicks an artery,
I think
it's
the trick is that this is actually a power sword. Del, what is the additional? What is the vicious score on your chainsword?
Vicious. It is vicious 3 plus 30 to crit.
Yeah. So what we'll do is I'm gonna add 30 to that roll for you, Tom. The target
To balance it out, I will take some strain
Okay.
for that.
Great.
You nicked yourself.
Let me take 4 strain from my roll of 4. For what it's worth, I rolled on better dice to see if that would change it, and I rolled a 3. So, like, this was destiny.
Okay.
you rolled on better dice.
Yeah, I rolled
What
on
does
my
that
bad
mean,
guy.
Tom?
I rolled on my bad guy black and red like Empire dice for like when I'm a DM and I'm trying to kill y'all. So then I rolled on my heroic silver and black dice, and they both said no.
Nice. So I'm gonna beef that up to a head ringer. So the injury with the sword will mean that Gazzy will suffer. He will increase the difficulty of all intellect and increase the difficulty of all intellect and cunning checks by 1. So if anybody is coming at him in a mental way,
Cool.
he'll be a little more thrown.
Love it. Alrighty, let's try and stab him with my my sadness dagger.
Great. So
All right.
again, that'll be difficulty 5.
Yeah.
One of those will be red.
Red, yep, totally fair. I am going to also spend a story point on this
Okay.
one. Because again, desperate people fighting don't think about the tactical necessity of other people having dice. And then yes, can I take I sacrificed my defense for boost?
Yep. That'll affect the rolls against you, but yes, you can do that. He also has his 1 setback for his armor.
Yep. Cool. All right.
Let's see what happens.
So we have 1 green, 3 yellow. Yep. 4 purple, 1 red, 2 blue, 1 black. Same roll. Same roll again.
Those odds are not in our favor.
Off way to saying that's 4 advantage, 2 failure.
4 advantage, 2 failure. He comes in. You do manage to ram the blade through, honestly, his chest on one side, which is why he's so thrown with the power sword as it goes through. But your other blade goes towards his head, and he manages to dodge that one. His neck actually bends more than you've ever seen a person's neck bend. It's clearly part of his overall enhancements because the sword did not take him out, and his neck went further than you would have thought possible, and he's still reaching in. However, let's see how Homie does here. So what is your defense?
A new man. My defense is now 0 because I sacrificed it to gain the boost.
Okie
Homie
dokie.
Novus.
Homie Novus. I like it.
He is
I like
coming
it.
in.
He doesn't deserve
Piper's just hoping to die in the light of the Emperor. We'll see.
Oh my. Oh
Some of
my.
these downers. Seth is hoping to live. Seth is hoping to walk out of here.
So rending claws. So Tom, his first attack with his blade, the moment you stab in, you feel a moment of like you have a chance, and then you just feel cold coming from your gut. You take. He rolled 2 triumphs, like 2 triumphs on this
God
roll.
damn.
Ouch.
Let's have it.
Oh dear.
I think I know how the myth ends.
GG.
And it has crit. He does 14 damage.
Mhm.
It also has breach, so it will remove 2 of your soak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you take 3 crits
Mm-hmm.
with how deep the knife goes. Which means
You become highly gullible.
the first crit.
For the first time, I've never been gullible to this point.
The first crit is a sudden jolt. So you drop whatever is in your hand. So you lose your sword and your
Figure
Assassin's
snut.
Creed blade clatters away. Your second crit. Oh, does this have? Oh, actually, it might even be more than that. Yep, that's supposed to be a 34. You are yeah, no, we'll go with that because that's a nice one. 64 because you are hamstrung, which means you no longer receive your free maneuver each turn.
Oh, darn.
There goes picking up the sword.
Oh, yeah, it's really going to matter to my corpse. My corpse is very concerned about his maneuverability. How else will I aim?
Okay, here's the interesting thing. You add 10 each time you take a crit.
Now
which
I've
means
got
you're adding
plus 20 on top of whatever you're rolling.
And he adds 2 with his knife because he's super nasty.
Hey Del, Mina better get her Medicaid kit out.
Mina better get her morning wear out, is really what's...
That is a clean 90, which means we jump to
Fucking
130.
Oh, yeah.
So that is a gruesome injury.
Mhm.
So it is so
that just means
deep
it looks bad.
that it is messing with you. So I now
This is where I thought we would start.
I have to determine which one it is affected. So it's so deep. 3. It is affecting your brawn.
Okay.
It is reduced by 1. So your brawn goes down,
Oh, all right. Yep.
which will also affect your soak and your health.
Mm-hmm. 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 Ryan, what will it do to my health? It lowers the threshold?
Your threshold will be lowered by 1,
All right.
and your soak will be lowered by 1.
Yeah, all right, that's fine. I love that. All right. So, may I?
Yes.
So he tears in, and Nero's eye just kind of goes wide. The blades fall away. It's not like a knocking them out of my hands. It's literally just like, that was the play. So the blades fall away. I feel cold, kind of jutting through me.
Tom, just for a technical question for my brain, do you have any wounds left, or is this?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay, I'm just
I
saying.
have
There's
3.
stuff I also want to know mechanically for me, but just
I have 3. I was going to get there, though.
okay.
Still
Go for it.
alive. So standing there as my guts begin to roll out a little bit, I'll just look at him and say, You know who else almost gave up when the Emperor's claws tore through him? Try again, Homo Novus. Fabius Bile was never the favorite son, and nor are you. And then I'll just cough blood and maybe some lung out. But I have 3 fucking wounds left. My my soak is down to 5. I have no defense left. My threshold is down to 11, but I mean, threshold doesn't matter. I got 7 strain left. I'm in bad shape, but I am still standing. Does he hit me again?
And the Aeldari watching the fight continue their chant, their voices overlapping uncomfortably for all of you.
Guys.
He had lost his eye, and with it his mind, stripped of his memory, his fate unaligned. Then, there is an option for all of you, the regular humans who are watching this fight. The Aeldari are beginning to watch the fight. They're not necessarily as closely watching you, but they are watching this. Do you want to try to do something, or do you not? They do clearly have the drop and advantage on all of you. It's just, do you want? I'm not going to trap you on the sidelines.
Yeah, Seth would just want to speak more. He would not want to make any sudden moves that would get his head cut off.
Yep, feel free.
You would just say, the battle's decided. Let us go. Let us help him. Help us.
The story is not finished. One must keep to the script. Piper, is there anything you do?
Is there anything I can do? Like,
is there anything you want to do?
I think in response to this blinding, I think just like angry Piper will basically send out blinding energy towards
the attacker,
our homie. Yeah.
Alrighty. So let's do the roll.
It's not good. I just want to be clear. My setback to presence checks, telepathy is a presence check.
Yep. And they are an untouchable in engagement range, so you're adding 4 difficulty.
Adding 4 difficulty.
Correct.
So adding 4 difficulty to that. No.
I'm not saying you have to do this, because this is also the untouchable coming at you narratively, so it's okay if you decide that's too much difficulty.
Yeah. I think it's too much difficulty. Look. We're at 2 green, 2 yellow, 7 purple, 1 red, and 2 blacks. I think Piper would. I think honestly, literally, what this looks like is her like opening her mind up again to like what's going on outside, and then going, "Oh, no," and essentially shutting her box back in.
Can you roll me a ranged light check for Warden at 2 difficulty with 2 setback?
2 difficulty with 2 setback. Alrighty. 1 advantage.
1 advantage. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to say while everyone else is letting this game play out because they're clearly overmatched, Warden just turns and opens fire on the Eldar because Warden does not fuck around with aliens. So he opens up, but his advantage means, Piper, he will actually have kept the untouchable away from engagement range from you. They will make it next turn, but they've had to dodge. So if you want to make your check, it will only be at 2 additional difficulty, not 4.
Oh.
And I will also say, because this has kept them back and you'd be able to see more, you could either throw the blindness at the untouchable or you could throw it somewhere else, should you so wish.
Yeah, let's get that fucker out of the way. I'm going to suffer 2 wounds to add an automatic success. Will this be for next turn?
No, we'll cast this now because you were going to cast and then couldn't, and then Warden shot at a guy, which is all supposed to be simultaneous.
Okay.
Because if there's one thing Warden knows, it's when you're trying to do something and something is stopping you. He's
Yeah.
not okay with real world things stopping you. He's okay with him stopping you.
I'm also I'm gonna push again. So I'm gonna upgrade one of the dice to add an additional success. Oh, this is gonna be rough.
And I'm going to use a story point to add another red to your difficulty side. Just
Well-
upgrade a red.
Oh man.
Well, I'm gonna story point too.
Great.
So this is gonna be horrible. I haven't even rolled yet. I'm scared. Okay, I'm rolling. Oh, we gotta get some perils here. Hey, okay. So 3 successes, but 5 threats. So 3 threats will trigger
Right.
perils of the warp. Ryan, with additional threats, there's a couple things you can do.
Can I add to your perils roll?
You can add +5.
Done.
Okay, so that's what you want to do? Okay, cool.
How much does it cost me to add 5?
2. It
Then,
costs
yeah,
you
I'm
2
adding-
threats,
I'm
so that's
adding-
all the threats.
I'm adding 5. That's great.
You're adding
so
5?
let's perils. I will say it works.
Okay.
Unless whatever the perils is specifically tells us it doesn't.
Okay. Now it says Perils of the Warp takes effect once the psychic power check has been resolved.
Yeah, that's now.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see.
Okay, that's 9 + 5, so that's 14. Oh no. We got a psychic cage. So I am now locked in the prison of my mind, taking on the role of
We're
both
there
zealous
anyway.
jailer and penitent heretic. I have to make a hard charm or negotiation check to appeal to my own better nature to escape self-inflicted chastisement. If I fails, I'm staggered and immobilized for a number of rounds equal to my willpower, that's 4, and develop a mental trauma.
Okay.
We got more rolling to do.
So
Ironically,
while-
that's what you wanted. You wanted to be trapped in a little box.
I know, right?
While the solitaire is blinded and staggers, and you feel Warden sprint away from you, drawing his sword towards it to buy you as much time as he can, unfortunately, you are in the 40k equivalent of the Nest T plunge inside your mind. You send the warp energy out, but then when it goes, you feel your soul lean forwards out of your body. And when you try to correct and draw it back in, you actually fall back into your mind. So you fall
Cool.
into the cell that you've always been afraid of your whole life. You fall back into an astropath cell, but the kind in a high volume workspace where there is no chance for art, where you are just like mind blown within 2 years. You feel yourself at the end of that rope. You know you're one message away from your whole body falling apart. You can look down and see that your flesh is saggy and torn. You have none of the strength you've worked on. You have none of the youth that you've worked on. You've never been a part of the Inquisitorial band. You are just a cog in a machine that is being wasted. And standing over you is your current self, youthful, purposeful, part of the Inquisition. And that version of you is telling this new terrified version of you that you have no value, that you are garbage, and this is all you ever deserved. And no one ever really knows how to hurt their own feelings as much as themselves. So what does evil subconscious Piper say to current Piper in this horrifying alternate universe that would break her?
Oh. I think she would say, well, this is quite the end you're having, and you didn't even get to live at all.
Let's roll that check now.
All right. So this is a hard, I have to make a hard charm or negotiation check. They're the same for me. But is this an opposed check against myself?
No, because because it says hard. So you're making it. You
Only
will be
because
considered-
I get 3 setbacks to all opposed social interactions checks.
yeah, this
right
would count.
now. Yeah, okay.
This would count because you are weakened by the susceptibility. So you actually got blasted into your own mind, and you're susceptible to listening to your own fears.
Okay. So 4 green, 3 purple, 3 black. Let's see what happens. Hey, 5 successes, 4 threats.
What? So that means you succeeded? 5 successes, 4 threats.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Piper, you feel yourself about to fall into the darkness when you begin to resist. and you begin to push back, and the vision around you begins to fragment. And you realize you're still not going to be able to break entirely free until you feel a hand take your own and raise you up. And you snap back into consciousness, and you see the Shadow Seer of the Harlequins holding you by the hand and lifting you up to your feet. And you realize you cannot move. You have been paralyzed, and your psychic abilities have been paralyzed within you, but you can also feel the well of your psychic energy growing. And normally that is a danger. Normally that is something that you would worry about shattering your mind or summoning a demon. But for the first time, the psychic powers feel clean. It feels like water. It feels like your control is there. And you realize you cannot move, but when you can, you will be stronger than you were before. Perhaps stronger than you've ever been and in a different way. And behind the mirror mask, the Shadow Seer says to you, "You are not fated to die here. You have work to do, Isabella." And then the Shadow Seer turns to stand beside you, keeping their hand wrapped around yours, and you get to watch this final showdown. Mina, you are praying and blind on the floor. But all of a sudden, your vision returns to you in a flash, because the Shadow Seer's psychic attention has been brought elsewhere, which means you are now on the floor, you have your shield, you have your chainsword, but there is a troop master of the Harlequins standing between you and Nero, who is about to die. You are prone. What do you do?
God. I don't know. He's standing between her and Nero, but is he attention focused on her?
He's facing her. With the Shadow Seer having moved away, she's got his full attention.
Okay. I think this is really random, but I think she wants to try and throw the shield at the Homo Novus, either to knock him over or to give the shield to Nero. Like, this is
nice.
Her protection for him.
Let's go with athletics and brawn for this toss.
All right. I got to go back to my actual sheet. All right. Athletics and brawn. All right.
So your difficulty is going to be the Eldar's coordination to try to smack this aside.
Okay.
Which means your difficulty will be 3 red and 2 purple.
Okay.
Because Eldar are supernaturally coordinated.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I will also use a story point, so it'll be 4 red.
1 purple and 4 red.
Yes.
Okay.
I will give you 2 boosts because this is a crazy fucking move, and I wouldn't have seen it coming, so I doubt the Eldar were like, and then she'll throw away her shield for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, a crafty reason, but for them, none.
All right. What is our story point situation?
You've got currently 3, and I have 2 after that trade. So you have them.
This is the Hail Mary. I'm going to take one. This is
Alrighty,
all Mina can do. She can't get herself there, but maybe she can help a little bit. All right. So 2 greens, 3 yellows, 1 purple, 4 reds, 2 boost. All right, we're doing this. Oh my word, Emperor. Oh, this is a fucked up roll. Welcome to hell.
Words sweeter.
I rolled 6 successes, 1 triumph, 1 threat, 1 despair.
Wow.
You will hunt angels in the days to come and make a kingdom from their bones. Fabius Biles' promise to the new men. You all stand trapped by the Harlequins, trapped within your own bodies. Warden is fighting a solitaire. Seth is so overmatched, he's having a conversation with his captor, trying to solve where the story is heading. And Mina, you have just thrown your shield to slash at Nero, who is unarmed, facing Gazzy, the former governor, your former ally, who's been revealed to be one of the Homo Novus. And what a roll you just had. The shield spins out past the Harlequin troop master who reaches for it, because this breaches the story. And you can all see around you, the Eldar are confused by what's happening. Their grace almost halts for a moment as they are not prepared for this to occur. The shield flies forward and impossibly hits Nero's hand, who catches it. And Gazzy reverses his blade because Gazzy can attack twice a turn, raises it up to bring it down on Nero's throat. When Nero raises the shield, and the brilliance of the Emperor and this thing that has protected you, Mina, ever since you left the convent, saves Nero's life by absorbing all of the knife to come. Only, unlike any other foe that you've wielded, this knife hammers through the shield and punctures the generator, so the shield cracks down the center and dies. Now we move to round 2 of the combat. Nero, you are unarmed and have a knife in your guts that is now coming for your face. What do you do?
So, Ryan, earlier we established that Nero had his second favorite toy, grenades. Do I still have grenades?
You do.
Okay. So I think what I would like to roll, if I may, is a... Oh, that's absolutely it. A skullduggery, if you will. Because while that shield is up, I would like to be thumbing every single grenade button on my belt under the shield. Because, again, Nero he's not a shield guy. Like, this isn't, Cap suddenly getting to wield Thor's hammer. This is... oh, well, that's convenient. And then as he's holding up the umbrella that's stopping him from the knife rain, I think it's like click, 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 so that the minute he has an action, he can do something with that. But we never established how many grenades I have. So
you have,
I throw it to
actually, weirdly enough, I do know how many grenades you have.
Brilliant.
I believe from the reloads and other things that you have in place, I know you have 4 crack grenades. Mm-hmm. And you have 4 smoke grenades, and I believe you had 2 frag grenades, but you dropped 1 in the elevator.
I did.
So you have a grand total of 5 grenades.
Fantastic.
But doesn't Nero also still have the grenade that was made of the bomb that was in Piper's head?
I think that was his frag grenade. So that one is the one that went off. So he has 4 crack grenades and 4 smoke grenades. We'll call it there. That feels right to me.
Ryan, just for my own brain, and this honestly dates back to my own 40K experience. Crack grenades are meant for breaking tanks.
You are correct.
Frag grenades are meant for blowing up flesh, right?
Correct.
Fucking beautiful. So as I'm under the shield, I mean, maybe I don't need to roll for this. Maybe I do. But I would like to thumb the grenades desperately as these knife blows are raining down, so that I can give Gazzy a hug.
All right, so you're trying to trigger the grenades while grabbing Gazzy.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to trigger the grenades while he's attacking the shield.
Yes. But you're trying to grenade him in a way that he won't know, which I do like. So yes, let's do this. So you are using skullduggery, correct? You just said, which feels pretty goddamn right. You have the shield. It came in miraculously. That's pretty crazy. That's got to be 2 boost for sure.
Okay, yep.
I'd give you a 3rd boost because you're hiding the grenades behind it. It's a big fucking win with the shield coming out of the middle of fucking nowhere.
Hondo P.
However, he will be watching you. So we will go with perception for him. We'll use his perception score as your difficulty. So just 3 red and 2 purple is his perception. I've got to give you 2 setback because your hands aren't working the way they were supposed to after your injury.
Totally.
But you might have stuff that takes away setback. I'm pretty sure you do.
I do. So, Ryan, are we counting this as the trigger the grenades and hug, or is this trigger grenades and then we have to roll the killer hug?
I'm thinking it might be both. He's got an ability that might help him dodge away, but if he doesn't fucking see this coming.
Well, because basically my hope is that the triggering the grenades is just a thing I'm doing while the attack is occurring. The hug should feel so weird as a result that it isn't like, oh shit, he's full of grenades, but rather like the fuck?
Yeah. So I think we can roll this into this one big roll because he is rolling perception. So it's knowing what the weird thing is as opposed to being confused by the weird thing.
Okay. So if I can then make a pitch to try and help my tremendously garbage dice pool for this. If we're rolling the hug in, may I use skullduggery instead of cunning?
Skullduggery is cunning based, I think.
Yep. It is cunning based. Sorry, can I use agility because basically I've got only my cunning on this right now, which I'm actually fine to roll with because this is a dramatic, desperate play. But I feel like I should get some advantage from being an extraordinarily agile man for the hug, not necessarily for the hand grenades. I'm sorry, this is a weird hybrid roll pitch, but
I'm just trying to figure out how to do the math on it because I'm not against this as a concept. Let's say, do you know what? Yeah, let's just combine your cunning and your agility. So whichever one's higher will be your base dice pool, and then upgrade by the other.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
I'm going to spend a story point, so your
4 red,
your
1
opposition will be 4 red, 1 purple.
Yep. What are we doing on story points for us?
You've got him to spend. If you want him, it's all yours.
You best believe. You will believe a man can fly. All right. So that's just base pool. I am absolutely going to burn my clever retort, which I believe was just pointing out that Fabius Bile sucks and he does too. So that normally adds 2 threat to an opponent's roll. Can I use that to drop the threat from my current roll, or would you rather have that as an add boost? Or should I save that for his attack, which we could also do if we want to do rules as written?
No, let's not go rules as written. I think it's just kind of fun. I would say just go for it, I think. Okay. We'll build all into this roll because then it just lets us keep things nice and terrifying and crunchy.
Yeah. Like, knowing that this is the final Nero roll, it would just be cleaner, I think, if we stacked
I agree.
it all.
Let's stack it all in here.
Great. Okay, so that's all good.
He will add 1 difficulty for him because he used his move maneuver last turn. So he's just so goddamn fast, it's hard to get a hand on him.
So sorry, that's 1.
That's purple? 1 more purple. Yeah.
Yep, gotcha. Yeah, he's doing the RE5 Wesker thing that Tyler and I had to deal with the other day.
Correct.
Okay, so that is, I think, all I've got. So what we're sitting at now, this is going to be so fucked. 4 yellow, 2 purple, 4 red, 3 blue. Which sounds about right, I think, for what this is. So as the knife strikes are like cutting through my arm and the shield, I think there's a moment of bemusement as Mina's shield cracks, because I don't think Nero ever considered that could happen. Like, that was just an impossible thing. And
if I can interject,
please.
That has never come up is that the shield actually has a shelf with a book in it. So pages just fly out of the shield also, because it's like it's her like study buddy religious icon. So it has religious books in the shield.
Oh my God. Yeah. All right, so I'm imagining then this is like...
And they catch fire because it is coming out of a power field, so there are flaming religious texts falling in the middle of this room now.
Honestly, as Nero's brains mesh, I don't think there's a more perfect final image for him than the words of the Emperor burning while also saving his life. Like, it's a perfect, like, who am I? Oh, well. So with that in mind... just like run my palm down the triggers on the grenades, and I guess lurch forward saying, well, bad fathers are one thing, but I bet I can do the Emperor one better. And I'll just reach forward, try and give him the hug, and let's roll. 2 success, 2 advantage.
Hey!
2 successes, 2 advantage. He looks down and sees the grenades that are about to go off between you and him. And Gazzy's eyes shift to, rather than fear, just rage, because you have trapped the trapper. And then for a moment, time stops. You see the grenades about to count down, but they're not moving, and you're frozen in place. But you can look over and you see the Shadow Seer of the Harlequins approaching you, walking in this time stop. Piper, you can see this as well. No one else can, and you are still trapped, but you are there as well. And the Shadow Seer walks up to you, Nero, and the Shadow Seer reaches forwards and with the flick of a wrist, psychically removes the bandage over your missing eye. And then they reach their hand out and press over the gap, and you don't feel pain. You just feel a shock of energy. And when they remove their hand, your eye has returned to you. It is the opposite color of your other eye. I believe your eyes are blue. Am I correct? I cannot remember. Yeah.
Brown.
So now
they're dark colored.
They're dark colored eyes. Thank you. There we go. We got the artist. This eye is shot through with blue. It is the same. Piper, for you looking, he wouldn't know this from the feel. It is a spirit stone that has been inserted into his eye socket, but it has been meshed with his mind. And for you, Nero, a simultaneously horrifying, confusing, and wonderful thing happens, which is your mind splits down the middle, and you can finally look at both halves at the same time. You can see the template, and you can see the history that it has, and you can see the full life that you lived as this heroic version of Nero. And you are this template still. And at the same time, you now see every dark secret of the Confederacy to which you belonged. And you remember the ways you perverted yourself and the Emperor's light, and you remember the love you had for darkness, and you remember the hatred that you had for everything. And you remember your betrayal. And you realize at this moment that you are two men. And this is your last chance to decide which one of them you want to be. Because you can take this monster with you and strike back for the Imperium, or you have just enough time when you look over your shoulder to redirect a grenade to take Sister Mina with you. A flawless Imperial servant, dripping with piety, with no sense of irony. But you have to choose in this half a second moment. You will die either way. But are you Nero the hero, or are you Nero the villain? And time snaps back into place, and you have to make the choice in an instant.
And with an actual pure smile, the kind you saw when I was doing my Ventus Jump Academy shit, when I just really felt fully myself, as though everything was fully aligned. I just turn back to Sister Mina, and I smile, and just say, "Hey, thanks." And then I take that fucker out.
And Nero and Gazzy, in an explosion designed to destroy two tanks at once, all of the grenades go off and they are shredded into nothing. The shockwave expands outwards and shatters the mirrors in all direction, and the Aeldari flip backwards away from you and release you all of a sudden. So the three of you are left in this strange void. And that's when you realize that someone else is standing up at the same time that you are. And Rancid Cologne suddenly isn't drooling. Rancid Cologne is 9 feet tall and 350 pounds of enhanced muscle. And he pulls off the goggles that he has been forced to wear, and he removes the stupid hat that has been put upon him. And you spot the bald head and long gray hair and intelligent eyes of Fabius Bile. And he says, "So many sons have disappointed so many fathers. And after a certain point, you have to do things yourself." And he reaches down and grabs his wheelchair, picks it up and smashes it on the floor. And out steps Torment, his scepter, a skull-headed pain rod that is nearly as long as he is. And he is coming for you at full speed, and Astarte is out of armor with 10,000 years of fury behind him. But you all have ranged weapons and he doesn't, and the Harlequins have let you free. What do you three do?
Piper moves to paralyze him.
Great, let's go for it. Let's roll them bones.
Okay. So I'm going to be making an it's average difficulty by default, but I'm adding 3 difficulty to try to do this. I have my 2 setback from the perils before. I'm going to take 2 wounds to add a success. I'm going to upgrade a difficulty to add a success.
Alrighty.
And do we still have the burning flames of like paper? Is there still something burning?
Yes,
in
those
the
are still
room?
floating through
So
the environment.
you just see like out of my pocket, basically, there's like a scroll, a kind of slightly luminary skull that I just cast into the flames. It is a consecrated scroll, and it will allow me to re-roll a peril if I should roll Peril of the Warp.
Smart.
So, good God, story point, please.
Yep, you could spend that.
All right, so we're looking at 1 green, 3 yellow, 3 purple, 2 red, 2 black, but 2 auto successes. So
Great. You have 2 purple. I'm spending a story point to
I have
upgrade.
3 purple.
3 purple.
2
Great.
red.
I'm going to upgrade one of them with a story point,
Yikes.
and then I'm going to upgrade another because it is a warp-soaked demon marine that you're being exposed
yeah, that's
to.
fine.
However, you do receive 4 boost because you are filled with Eldar psychic energy. The reserve that the Shadow Seer gave you carries forward.
Ooh, do I lose my setbacks from before?
Yeah. This will blast your brain. Do you know what? I will let you either add 4 boost or remove the setback and add 1 boost. I leave it up to you.
Sorry, add 4 boost, but keep the 2 setbacks?
Yes, or take the 2 setback off and I guess add 2 boost. That might be the easiest way to do it. I still want you to get boost. Remove the setback and add 2 boost, please. There we go. That'll be the easy answer, I think.
That's what it's going to be. Yes, that is what I want. Yes, okay.
Great.
All right, let's do it. Oh no! So 2 advantages, but 2 despairs.
Oh, we're going back to Peril Town.
Guys, I've made so many psychic checks.
What was your reroll deal though? You burned your consecrated
No,
scroll.
so yes, but I only get to reroll the result of the peril chart.
Fair enough. Then we're going to continue in the peril chart.
So a despair, Ryan, what you can do with that extra despair if you want, you can add 10
do it.
to the D10 result.
Do it. Let's
Okay,
get
so I'm
crazy.
going to roll. So this is my first roll. We'll see if I want to re-roll it. So that's an 8. That becomes an 18. Yeah, this is maybe fine.
Okay, what's an 18?
Oh, okay. So this is Droning Eternity. My mind expands, briefly trying to process the untold billions of voices living, breathing, and dying around me, suffer a mental trauma at 5 strain, and reduce my strain threshold by 5 for the next 5 days. I can't take that amount of strain. Really. I mean, not with like the added reduced threshold. So let's try rolling again.
I was say no. Here. Oh, okay. If you want to roll again, that's an option.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah.
I don't know what happens when you run out of strain either.
Yeah.
I mean, traditionally you fall unconscious, but we're in an interesting story realm that I'm not against.
I also don't want to suffer a mental trauma.
what is your other result, and then you'll be able to know which one you want to re-roll. Because I'd love to know them both before we dive into this. Because
okay. The other, it's the same one. I'm stuck with it.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Determined.
You can feel the energy roiling inside you. It is different, and it's Aeldari infused. You can't paralyze the target with these failures. However, you do have a feeling that if you push, you could remain conscious rather than passing out. But there will be consequence. Do you push?
Well, yeah. I mean, the point is to stop Fabius, but that's literally why I'm here. That's why Piper's here, Ryan.
Can you roll me
that's
a
why
D6?
Piper's here. Yeah. Oh, I don't like this. 3.
You push back and flood the energy out of your body using your own raw warp-fueled strength to do so. And the energy flows out of you. And suddenly, out of the mirrors around you, you begin to hear a screech of claws on glass. And climbing out of those mirrors are 3 demonettes of Slaanesh, drawn by the perverted Eldar energy. They are sinuous, androgynous figures, simultaneously lithe and sexualized in everything they do, but everything around them and all of their limbs end in blades of terrifying ends. The Harlequins themselves start screaming and running. And the demonettes, 2 of them take off after the Harlequins, and the 3rd begins to move towards your party. However, Piper, you are still conscious and capable of defending yourself. Mina.
Yep. All right, that's it. Fuck it.
Do you have a ranged weapon, Mina?
No, Mina does not have a
actually,
range. No.
Mina, I hate to say it, but you're going to have to wait. Seth has ranged weapons. So that is the only reason why, in sheer odds of everyone else's close combat. Seth, Demonettes of Slaanesh are hauling themselves out of the glass and moving towards the party and the Eldar. Fabius Bile is charging like a freight train. Dude, your protector is just fucked off. The Eldar's gone. Like, he's abandoned you. There's nothing said.
Yeah.
He just shrieked and ran like the rest of the Harlequins are doing.
God, there's a couple things I'd like to do. I'd like to fire on Fabius and fall back, and also radio Sarah to get the midwife here to our location at this floor. Yeah.
I think that would probably be you hit the button and she goes. Like, you'd have a tracker. You would have organized that in advance. So she is on the way. So then combat-wise,
it's just a game of staying alive. I do not think I have a chance at killing this guy whatsoever. It is just slowing him down and keeping away and keeping the rest of my unit alive. So opening fire while also falling back. I think I'm screaming that at everyone. Just fall back into the maze.
Great. So you're sprinting into the like the fog of the Harlequins, the shattered glass everywhere, and making your own break. Let's take your shots. So you're shooting at Fabius, not at the Demonettes, which is good to know. Your difficulty would normally be 2. However, Fabius Bile is a Marine and super capable, so your difficulty gets upgraded. In this case, it'll be upgraded twice, so it'll be a difficulty 4 to hit. Normally, it would be 5, but he's not actually in his power armor. He's softer than he would normally be were he in his full gear. If he was in his full gear, everybody in this room would be completely fucked, but he's Zardazing it.
I'm using my bolt pistol for this, just because there's a bit more range there. I don't want to wait for him to get into short range for the plasma.
I would say you could use the plasma. He's coming at you. It's short.
Sure, I'll go for plasma then.
Also, you want to? Yeah, you want to.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Just well, if it isn't Flavius Bile, really make him want to kick my ass. Okay, so I am basically good to roll. This is a pretty standard kind of roll for me. Nothing special to add.
Yep, I will hit you with a story point.
Okay,
so that will just upgrade 1 of the difficulty to a red.
Okay. So 3 green, 3 purple, and 1 red. I think this is probably already decided before we start, but let's see. Nope, 3 failures. Shots just go wide. Yeah.
As you are running away, you are slipping on glass. You are terrified because demons are appearing around you. And you fire your ball of plasma. However, it misses Fabius Bile, who continues to storm forwards. He is running towards Piper. Mina,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do?
Oh, Mina does not here in the cacophony. She saw Nero's last look to her. She sees this asshole. She's going to unravel from around her waist some of like the chains and things that are hanging on and turn on a sacred incense burner, which anything demonic in engaged range adds setback to melee and warp instability. It's an anti-demon like sensor. And she is going to rush Fabius Bile with her chainsword. Because Mina does not fucking break. Not after what Nero did.
Let's do this. All right, you're coming in. It will be a difficulty of 4 because we are adding 2 to the difficulty for swinging in at Fabius Bile.
Yep.
I'm going to use a story point, so one of those will be red.
Okay. And then I'm assuming my normal melee light.
Melee light.
And I would like a story point also, please.
That seems very reasonable. Go right ahead.
All right. So running in, chain sorting, Fabius Bile. All right. Do you want to know what it is? I mean,
Yes, we'd all like to know.
Okay, it's one green, 4 yellow, 3 purple, 1 red. That's what we're looking at. So gonna try our best we can. Fucking hell, 5 advantages.
5 advantages.
There we go.
Swinging your sensor, you keep the demonette back. And Fabius Bile is sprinting towards you. You swing at him with your chainsword in an elaborate pattern. You're working with your sensor. You do actually manage to ward him away from you. And he keeps running past you instead of stopping to fight you. So he's making a break for the clouds of the fog of the Harlequins. And you'd reasonably guess the launch pad to get the fuck out of here. Piper, he is barreling directly towards you. Can you roll me for...
Is Warden in the mix here?
You are. That's where we're heading. Can you roll me a coordination?
I just want him to roll first.
A coordination or athletics, if you could do that for me, please.
Coordination or athletics.
Correct.
Well, it's going to have to be coordination.
Great. Let's roll that. It'll be difficulty 2.
Okay. And rolling. 3 successes.
Fabius Bile is bearing down towards you, going to run you over and probably kill you, when out of a flash of movement in the corner of your eye, Warden is soaring and just tackles you out of the way and rolls you to safety over the glass. You do take 2 wounds that are unsoakable just from having to roll through glass, and so does he.
All right. Wounded.
Fabius is about to break into the Harlequin's fog. Piper, you're the only person who could theoretically stop him at this point. What do you do, or do you do nothing?
Sorry, he's headed
He's sprinting essentially back towards where you would imagine the governor has like their escape launch pad to fly away.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, I can't let him get away. I have to try, right? I have to try something.
The one thing I can't tell you is what your character does.
No, I know. What I want to do is I think he'll be expecting an attack. I want to do basically just a low-level mind scan to find out where he's going next.
All right, yeah,
let's escapes where he's going. Oh,
because I know I'm just like I've already fucking brought demons and like, yeah.
Alrighty, yeah. Let's roll. Let's see what happens here. So
okay,
that would normally be difficulty what, 2?
That's a compel. So it's normal. The default difficulty is easy. So it's just 1 red is the default. This adds 1 purple to do the mind scan in particular because I'm using the compel trait.
And we're going to add 1 more purple and 1 more red just because he is a very wily mind that has been warp soaked. It's not easy to just kind of dive into Fabius Bile's head.
Mm-hmm.
You will have 2 boost and 2 setback on this. simply because the sheer amount of warp energy around you and it balances itself. You're more powerful, but it's more unpredictable.
Okay. I will not push because that's gotten me into despair. But I will take 2 more wounds to add a success.
How do you look now with the sheer number of psychic wounds you've voluntarily taken over this battle?
Not bad. I've got 4 wounds left, and I've got 7 strain left.
So let me rephrase that. Visually, how do you see the wounds that you've done to yourself? Yeah.
All of this comes from basically my core, because Piper will draw breath and kind of draw in the power through that. Every time she has wounded herself, it's kind of come from her gut, her abdomen. And so essentially, like, the muscles that help her breathe deeply get more and more torn up. So each time she does it, it's more and more painful for her to draw on from the energies of the warp.
Yep, that's awesome. I mean, not great for her, but it's awesome in general.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Is there anything else you can add to this roll? I think we're just good to go.
Nah, I'm just rolling, man. Oh! 2 failures, 2 threats, but no perils. And it was so in my favor, too.
No perils is good.
You begin to try to reach into Fabius Bile's mind, thinking that you can pick up a surface scan of exactly what is happening. And instead, he stops in place and looks back at you, just dead in the eyes. And you hear him say inside his mind, "You think you can handle what I'm aware of." And he starts projecting things, truths he's learned, experiments he's taken, his entire emotional and intellectual learning about the Emperor, just the thing that broke his faith, are absolute facts to him. And he hits you with that. Can you roll me a discipline? Willpower. Difficulty 4, 2 red. Oh, wait, no, he's in your head. 4 red.
4 red?
Yes.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Can I use a story point?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
I will also use a story point to add another purple.
Oh, why did I do that? I'm gonna die now. Hey, 3 threats.
3 threats.
That's okay.
His thoughts and surety and everything else pour into your mind. And you were expecting an assault. You were expecting it to hurt. Only Fabius Bile isn't a psyker. He just leaves you those thoughts, consciously exposing them to you, and then dashes into the fog and disappears. And you think you've gotten off lightly until you look into your heart to try to find your faith in the Emperor to get you through this moment. And you realize that deep down inside, you don't believe anymore. You're an atheist because you can't summon an ounce of faith in the Emperor. You see him as a large, dangerous psyker at the center of a body that is the only way to keep the Imperium from chaos, but is not good or holy in its own right. It's just necessary. And it's a change that doesn't mean you have to change your career and may not change your interactions with others, and you probably won't ever admit this out loud. But deep at the core of you, you can now see what the Imperium was supposed to be before the heresy, when it was supposed to be a great crusade of hope and logic and beauty and art and humanity. And now you also see 10,000 years later what that dream has become. And that is the dream you are fighting for.
With the threat is now gone, right? Like Fabius
yeah.
Bile he's out of there.
The demonette next to Sister Mina, hit with the sensor, slapped down by just her sheer outrage and sense of moral will. What would you yell at a demon to banish it, Sister Mina?
I think that she was so focused on Fabius Bile and like trying to get after him, and then only after he was like scooted by saw the demons, and she starts losing her goddamn shit. Like she's not saying words and not even prayers. She like screams, like scared screams, and lays into it, but is just freaking out. Like, no, she was put together to go after Bile, but attacking the other demons, she's just like freaking out.
Great.
I think as that's happening, Piper, she's been standing still, and I think she hears this shrieking kind of in the back of her mind, like it seems really distant, and she just turns around, and it's like she sees all of this, like the horribleness with like the demon and everything, and it's just like passionless. It's almost like she feels like she's watching a play she's not interested in anymore. And I think she just kind of starts to walk to the other side of the room, like back the way they came.
Warden grabs you, so he's keeping you with him because he's still shooting at things out of the fog. So there is that moment of you're still dazed. It's just he's not going to let you wander into the wilderness because he just thinks something bad is happening but doesn't know what it is.
Yeah,
Seth,
Piper always thought Warden was kind of like funny. Like there was always a sense of like dark humor about Warden's role. And I think Piper's just like, she just shrugs and stops. She's not going to fight it.
Mm-hmm. Seth, you're racing through the fog of the Harlequins. It's beginning to fade around you. You've got to the section where there are still many of the mirrors intact. You're far enough away from the crack grenades. When all of a sudden you turn around and find that same troop member who is behind you, looking at you from within a mirror. And he just says to you, "The story goes on." And then he backflips away, somehow out of his own reflection into nothing. And the rest of the smoke clears. Sister Mina, screaming, smashes a demonette into the ground. Then another. They're all gone, disappearing into Iker. And the fog disappears. The Harlequins disappear, and you're left in this shattered room. When Vance troops burst in, and some of the surviving Bane stormtroopers and the Arbites that you had released earlier into the facility, they've carried the day outside. And what happens next after the shock of combat is the same thing that usually happens. Things happen in a rush, and it feels like they happen to you instead of because of you. Sarah Pinchot, in the Angel of Retribution, soared towards the governor's Citadel, and she actually engaged with the governor's shuttle that had taken off and shot it down further out over the continent. You all felt somewhat better about that until no body was recovered from where the flight crashed. Phyllisa Vance became governor. It was a brutal and violent upbringing and involved the assassination of pretty much everybody she didn't like except the few people on your list. She's made the move that has given her control of the Dominion Omnium Proto-Hive. The rest of the system will take some time to come around to the idea that the houses have been dissolved, because there are other people who are as powerful as Phyllisa who are in charge of Falsher Frieden and Geminella and these other areas, which means this will not be a smooth transition of power. But it was the choice that you made. When you get back to your ship, you all have some time to yourselves, but the first thing that you were forced to do is bring up the files that you had recovered in the governor's citadel. Included amongst them was a vast treasure trove of audio recordings taken from Fabius Bile, by Fabius Bile, and from other places and adventures that he had had, stored on a variety of servers. You reviewed all of this documentation and found a file that confirmed what you had hoped, that this mission that you had been sent on had ultimately been achieved. It was in his personal files, a diary recording, for lack of a better term, of Fabius Bile years before you had arrived, around the timeline where you knew this mission had been discovered and then you'd been sent to stop. And when you played it for yourselves, it helped contextualize a number of things that were happening. I have received an offer from a confederacy of heretics and so-called traitors. They require prom, not my usual fare nor my usual interest. At the same time, what they offer is something I cannot afford to refuse. The flesh of the Emperor. I've never received his genetics, and he is one of the most powerful psychics to ever be created. I do not care for the war on the throne, or any of these pathetic, gaudy moves for power, but that raw material is the most valuable thing in all of humanity. To get it, they require enough prom for a crusade, some massive force of which I know not. I don't have this thing, but one of my children could. I shall have to move quickly to meet their timeline. It requires a swift and sure strike to take an entire system instantly. Should I fail, this offer will become naught, and so I will be forced to move on to other plans. Still, the Trapper will be able to do this. I have hope, as a father has hopes for a child, but I will supervise, as a father supervises a child. It was dated well before this coup attempt, which means, as far as you can tell, you have foiled this confederacy and the immediate danger that the Inquisitor had sent you here to deal with. Which is a relief, because you have a call from him that is waiting for you in the center of the ship. All of you are forced to attend. It's non-optional. You've had your wounds treated. You've been dealing with things quietly on your own. When the voice comes in, it says, "Oh, yes, it's so good to hear from you. So I've heard there's a bit of an update. Seems like you don't have an astropathic choir anymore. Bit of a concern."
Yes, the astropathic choir was destroyed.
Ah, yes, well, that occurs. I assume because you are alive and taking this call that you have defeated the danger that was present?
Yes, it would appear the Homo Novus threat present on this world has been eliminated. However, Fabius Bile himself was present and managed to escape.
Well, it's not ideal, but you know what? Sometimes the Emperor blesses us by giving us a challenge later. So the most important thing is, have you found any records about, one could say, a shadow organization moving against the throne, and are they still aligned there?
Yes, we have. I've prepared a brief for you as well regarding that.
And he'll receive the transmission and go, "Oh, well, he can't do what the Confederacy needs, so that's all right by me. I have a number of other things going on that are going to be far away from where you are, and I'm going to be out of touch for quite some time. So I'm afraid, just without your astropathic choir, I'm going to need you to just hold down the fort and remain in system. Just deal with whatever you need to, and I'll get back to you when I can. Hopefully you get a choir again soon. Nero, can I speak with Nero for a moment?"
No, Nero perished in carrying out his duties as an interrogator.
Nero, that is, struck the killing blow against Homo Novus. He did quite admirably in the service of the Emperor.
Oh, well, good for him. Good for him. What a way to go. You know what we all hope for. So I can tell, I believe that is Seth, Corbyn, and then Sister Olianne Mina on this call. Has anyone else survived out of the core group?
Yes, Piper is here as well, and Warden is present.
Piper, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
All right, well, congratulations, Piper. I'm raising you to the rank of interrogator because Seth has a history of heresy, and Sister Olianne Mina has a little bit of heresy in there too. So the important thing is that you are the faithful one who can be trusted by the throne to do exactly what's right for the Emperor. Just a flawless servant all around. So do what you need to do. I'll be in touch in several months, if I can be. Praise the Emperor. And he just hangs up. Which means, Piper, you've been raised to the rank of interrogator of the Inquisition. And the desk before you, the giant circular desk, a small drawer pops out of the center of it, producing a new rosette, because Nero's was lost when he died, along with the rest of his body. And this one has your name engraved at the bottom of it. marking you as the most holy of Imperial servants, even though you don't have any faith in the Emperor after being exposed to the mind of Fabius Bile. And you know Warden stands over you as your protector. But Warden has said to you over the past few days, and it is clear that he believes Fabius Bile summoned the demons. He is not aware that it was your release of energy that caused that to happen. And you are now forced, as the interrogator, to give the eulogy for the funeral of Nero Abagnale that is taking place now after this call. You, Seth, and Mina all stand over an empty casket that is ready to be jettisoned into space. It is a glossy black with the inquisitorial seal at the top of it, and inside it lays nothing, because there is nothing left of Nero Abagnale. You will have to give the eulogy, and then your two companions will get a chance to say goodbye to the fallen hero of the Imperium. Take it away.
Well, okay, everyone. Everyone's listening. So, I mean, obviously, like there's this whole ceremonial stuff. But look, I'm just gonna cut the bullshit and just speak from what I know. You know Nero differently than I did, Seth, Sister Mina. Okay, so I didn't think he was that great an interrogator, and honestly, a lot of the times he wasn't. But I guess when it came down to it, he did decide to give his life in service of his mission and the Holy God Emperor, and that's to be commended. So I would say he did his job. I would hope that if he could see himself, would be proud of the person that he became in the end. And I think we can all toast to that person who's no longer here. And to the Emperor.
Knowing that this is an empty coffin, each of you would have brought an item to place within it that symbolized Nero for you. Piper, what would you put in the coffin to symbolize Nero?
I would take my... Ooh, that's interesting. I think, honestly, I don't really have anything. I think I would have honestly just pried off a symbol of the Aquila or something literally from my room, just because I didn't want to see it there, and thought this will be fine. I don't have to look at it anymore.
Yeah,
and
take the Aquila out of your meditation shrine, so there's just no sign of the Emperor there anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That's suitably bleak.
Yeah.
Warden taps his chest and simply says, "He was a perfect man. I hope to die as well." And then puts a grenade inside the casket and just goes to stand with Piper. Everyone, and then both Seth and Mina, looked at each other awkwardly, not wanting to be the first person to talk.
Yeah. I'll go. Seth has nothing to say. Talking to someone who died for the Emperor is already kind of one level of ridiculousness, but this is an empty coffin for Seth. And it's just, so he has a bottle of Vicodin that he's also just been kind of sipping on during this ceremony. And he just kind of puts the stopper in and places the remaining contents inside the casket and walks away. He says nothing to or about Nero.
All right. Well,
he's wearing a black long coat, though. He's dressed for the funeral in that way, but that's it.
Yeah. I assume that they have all the stuff on the ship because they have lots of extra clothes and all that stuff. So I think Mina would have taken one of Nero's extra jackets that is his cool looking jacket And I think she would have also taken a piece off of it to keep, because she's like being weird about it. But she would put like one of his actual jackets that's like fitted for him. It's like not the jacket, but she would put one of his outfits in there.
Dare I ask, knowing he had 3 coats, he wore one to his death, and you're putting one in the coffin. Are you wearing the 3rd?
I think she would keep it. She's not wearing it. I think she would keep a piece of the one that she's putting in the coffin, though, like a strip of it, and keep that on her belt. But the rest of the coat gets to go, and so it's like part of the coat that goes in. But she's like watches Seth walk off and sees that Piper's like kind of half into it. So she's gonna talk, but I guess mostly talking to herself. She'd be like, Nero, you were the most lenient authority figure I have ever experienced in my entire life. And you taught me many things. And I thought you were a very good interrogator. And you accomplished your mission. You accomplished every single mission you were sent on. You were troubled, yes, but you are a very good son of the Emperor, and I hope you've found peace somewhere in your broken mind now that you can rest. And know that I will miss you. And then put the coat in. She's just gonna like stand there stoically. She's like got all her wibbles out way before this, so she's just like doing military stoics. She's gonna stand there and watch it go off.
And in the back corner, Sarah Pinchot, the ratling, reaches up and punches a big red button that launches the coffin out of the hold into space. And you all find a moment of peace, except Piper. Things just suck for Piper. But Mina, you realize that your battle for faith was a battle that was ultimately won by trust. Because if Nero was flawed, he would not have been the hero that he was. And the Emperor ultimately brought you the leader that you trusted all along. Piper, the most faithful and soulful of your compatriots, is now the leader of the band. And Nero went out in a way that guarantees him a trip to the heavens. Seth, the mission is over, and you don't have a mission for several months, and you're not locked in a weird pod. Which is probably as much of a win as you can get, because there's a lot of AMASEC, and technically Phyllisa Vance likes you right now. So you might even be able to get off the ship and enjoy yourself. Piper, you have a lot to figure out over the coming months. But it's good that you're going to have the time to figure that out, because you haven't had to lead before. And you've always had a bulwark of faith behind you rather than cold logic. And you don't have the ultimate goals and purpose that Fabius Bile does. Which is why you're all surprised when Abacus races into the shuttle bay. And he says, I've received another message. It's the translation. That Invictus had ordered before he went. It finally came through. It was translated by Inquisitor Gideon Ravener, who is apparently a bit of an expert in Aeldari texts. So the first part that you had read about the creature lunging forth, barons made dead, facing its price, and found the beast waiting to take its blood price. That was all accurate, but there is more that comes in the poem afterwards. It continues. Cornos fought hard, and his eye was returned, but blinded by memories on the beast's claws he burned. Isabella fought on with her court and her mind, killing the beast but discovering its kind. For it was not alone, it was one among 5. Brothers and sisters on evil they thrive. Spurned on by loss, enraged at the foe, she hunted crossed worlds, and the fight never slowed. With blood and with blade, with gun and with song, along her great journey she righted 4 wrongs. Until in the dark she found the beast's lair. A father and father awaited her there. By my analysis, this means Bile isn't gone. And it means you killed 1 Homo Novus, but there are 5. And the Inquisitor is out of touch. Piper, you are the only one who can stop this threat. It does not mar the Confederacy, but it could break the galaxy.
I'm sorry, I'm the only one?
You're the Interrogator, and the Inquisitor can't be in touch, and there's no astropathic choir. It's just you. But we all believe you can do this, and we'll support you however we can. And in that moment of horror, you all realize this will not be several months of rest to solve problems. You now have a hunt for 4 more of the thing that almost killed your entire party alone. And you'll do it without support. And it is no comfort to you, but there's a very happy Inquisitor somewhere who knows that no matter how this works out, the Confederacy will not get what they want. And that is the end of Season 2 of the Valentyne Heresy.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter as Interrogator Nero Abagnale, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter as Piper Fairley, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter as Seth Corbyn, Del Borovic at Deltastic on Twitter as Sister Olianne Mina, and our Game Master Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com, DELBOROVIC. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ads use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. We have merchandise available at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, and most importantly, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Sammy Boy, Orion Birchfield, Scott Garland, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Acrix, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Austin Nut Powers Fry, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Roman Brown, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.